Although they did start working with the Beals revolver in the year of 1856, it would not be the same as what you think of the Remington New Model Army today.
And if you're like me, you're into the history stuff, the books, you like the guns are worth their weight in gold. Because the gun, it's fun to shoot, it's fun to point with, but without the story there, if you're a history person like I am, without the story, it really doesn't mean all that
The Ruger Security 9.
Can I redraw?
You already looked?
No.
You sure
Alright.
you did?
Now on 3.
Another pro, at least a pro to me, is these guns are kind of a project. I like to look at them as I'm getting an advanced kit build in the mail whenever I get one. So it's a project that you can go down the road and you can either leave it as
Most people believe that the Walker was Colt's first extent to a very, very large pistol, but it wasn't. This was. This is Colt's 1839 patent firearms revolving carbine pistol. It is massive.
Hey, there we are. We are back. Kind of hard to believe it's been a year, huh? I hope everybody can hear it. I was about to say, I
It
didn't
feels
hear
like it's
anybody
been longer than a year.
else. Yeah, I think we did one about 9 months ago, and before that it was one, and then one like a year and a half ago. So it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Everybody's been busy. Well, welcome to everybody out there in the chat. I'll try to be reading your comments and questions. Obviously no major subject today because honestly, the three of us haven't had a conversation in a long time. And so we're just all going to have fun and have a good old-fashioned visit and get back together and, get caught up with things. Sheldon should be in here anytime, I hope.
I'm sure he'll make it.
I see that Snapper, he's got decorated for Christmas early.
Yes, this is for next year. I'm not even taking it down.
Oh, how about you, Dick? What have you been up to? Anything interesting?
Oh, not much. Just the new job that I've had. Well, I started it back in June, but yeah, it's 16-hour days about every other day.
I feel you. Everybody's been working hard, and I wanted to answer one thing that some people have been asking right off the bat. When are we going to make videos on 11 Bang Bang? I don't know that we are, unless Ethan wants to do something big with flintlocks. But if you guys are looking for the 11 Bang Bang content, a form of it is up over on our sister channel now, which is basically me and Noah doing our videos on the channel Smoke in the Woods. And they're not the same kind of videos, not near as in depth or anything like that, but they're, little videos here and there just to kind of fill the void. And anyway, and Duke, we haven't heard from you in so long. It seems like I've talked to you on the phone twice in the last 2 months, it feels like.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's been kind of slow, huh?
Yeah, well, working graveyards, and then like I said, sometimes it's 16-hour shifts. Don't get much time to do much anything anymore.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. How about you, Snap? You got anything going on historic-wise? Any new firearms? Any new?
Actually, not gun-wise, but I've had a little weird project. I haven't shared with anybody yet, but it's I like watches, and my great great grandfather bought this. It was a Waltham pocket watch in 1907.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love the look of this pocket watch because it's an open face and it looks humble on the inside, like on the outside. You flip it around, you take the back off, and it has like the most ornate engravings on the inside. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Cool.
And what I didn't know is they actually make smaller pocket watches that were like for women. They're like 30 millimeters, so you can actually turn them into a watch. So I found an exact similar model, the same face and same style engraving on the back. And it fits inside of a 30 millimeter watch case. And I'm pretty much turning it into a watch. And I'm going to have the bottom of the case clear so you can see the engravings and everything. So, yeah, it's turning out. I'm almost there. I got about half the parts. So it's coming together. It'll be pretty once it's done. Kind of an homage to my great-great-grandfather.
Very nice. Well, you guys ready? We're going to run through the comments here. See y'all's here. Joshua Harris says, hello, everybody. Hardy Hat says, strike up the band. The boys are back, and I can actually manage to stay up for it. Revere
Nice.
0311. Hey, I was just watching some of your 1803 videos to catch up. What's funny is Revere 0311, he had asked Ethan for information on the 1803 Harper's Ferry to do his video a couple years ago. And so Ethan asked me, and I asked Turkey Creek 1823, and I believe some of that got relayed back to Revere. And what was funny was I forgot all of it, so I had to go back and watch Revere 0311's videos to remember what we had read the first time. So a Hardy Hat said, strike up the band. Revere 0311 said first. A Hardy Hat said, okay, Joshua Harris was in here, tied. Rock McLaughlin said, hello from Tennessee. Mill Creek Range. Hi, Benji. Said,
Hey, Benji.
finally. Turkey Creek 1823 says, TC here. Good to see you. Jolly Jake Lovell says, open up another tab and give Snapper a thumbs up, please, and thank you. Are we streaming to your channel?
I
didn't think
have
I
no
could.
idea.
I
It's
think
okay. If not, it's cool.
it accidentally went this morning to Duke's channel, to your channel, and then back to ours. I haven't figured out this StreamYard since I got back on here.
If it is, it is. If it's not, it's what it is. No worries.
Good. Mill Creek Range said, how's everyone doing? How long has it been? Well, about 9 months since our last small chat. And it's been over a year since we were doing it regularly, which I don't know that we're going back to doing that, but we're just having a visit. I keep looking for Sheldon. I don't see him. Let's see. Who else we got? Doug Duke says, so glad you're back. Good to see you. Soy Lake Green's in. Garza Vlog said, yes, the boys are back in town. Diane Houston. Hi, Diane. She said, hi, everyone. The boys in Backertown. Yes, the Woods Gang rides again, Turkey Creek says. Family reunion. It's going to be a good one. So let me bend your ear. The clan's all here for the family reunion. Yes, it is. Let's see. AR American. That's Uncle AR.
Hey.
Hey, Mr. Grange. Let's see. Kent 645. Evening all. Glad to see you. Let's see. Hardy has a comment there, not necessarily a question. I'll get back to that. People saying hello. Angelica Woods. Hi, Angelica. And Jake. Everything Black Powder's in. Hi, Jake. Jeremy Gunslinger's in. He said you come right at bedtime. 4:30 comes early. Hope you all have a wonderful stream. Well, good to see you. Slick Six Guns is in with $100.
Holy cow.
Well, I appreciate that. I have to put that up there. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know where it goes because the channel's kind of hasn't been ran for a while, but I'll definitely have Ethan check in on that. Thank you.
Wow.
I appreciate it a lot. Oh, wait. I gotta find it.
Yes.
We got applauses now. Appreciate that. You guys, you don't have to send money, by the way, but we do appreciate that.
Yeah. Now we just got to figure out how we're going to split it 3 ways.
Get here in time. Okay, Travis Lynn said, hi, everyone. Hardy said the family reunion comment was a line from Cord Blum. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Clear up any confusion. Gina Wood said, good evening, everyone, and all. Great seeing you and hearing you all again. Mama Woods.
Mama Woods.
Hardy says Slick Six guns bringing the big guns. Yes.
It's making it rain around here. Holy cow.
45 caliber medic is in, and I believe we are caught up. He said, okay. He said, hi, guys. All right. So one comment we had back up here. Let's see. I believe it was Hardy sent it in. I got to look for it again. He wanted to talk about, not a question, he says, but I got an H&R officer's trapdoor and found out the pewter nose cap is actually painted. Yeah, I know. I got one up there right now. But it's pretty good. That's a really nice rifle. But yes, the pewter nose cap is just painted that color.
So what's the actual metal?
I think it's just tin or aluminum.
Oh.
If you can't see it, it's right above my head, right? I'm not touching it, but right there is the.
Well, my phone screen is kind of small, so.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, speaking of trapdoors, Jake from Everything Black Powder cashed in his 401k and sent me a bunch of 5170.
There. Oh, really?
Or 5070. Yeah.
Now I got to figure this out again. Woo! There we go. 5070, the gold mine, huh?
Yes, sir. It was 50 rounds? I think it was 50 rounds.
I'm not going to admit to the fact that I did pay $20 a round for that brass way back when, but I think it's a whole lot cheaper now.
Yeah, it was crazy back then. Crazy.
Yeah, I thought about 57 and those old calibers. I just been buying 9mm and 223 here lately.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're in the modern gun world now.
Oh, no.
Well, it's one of those get them like Colorado will let you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true. Oh, yeah. Gina Wood said, Noah says he likes your coat and wants to know your tailor. Well, you got to catch him on the right day. I'm not allowed to give that information out. Coban Hawkins 5070 or 5790 says, I got a question. Where can one find a 54 caliber Sharps bullet mold for a paper cutter, 59 for a correct ball?
There's gone, doesn't
there's several people sell. I don't remember exactly which one you want. Several people sell the Christmas tree mold. You can get, I think, now I'm drawing a blank. Not Forgotten Weapons. What's his name? You know who I'm thinking of. I know that Duke knows who I'm thinking of.
Air's gone.
Air's gone.
Air's gone?
Molds, I believe, actually have a mold for it. But bear in mind, depending on which replica you have, some of the IABs have really large bores. So you got to go oversized. So you want to check that up. Let's see. Hardy said, did y'all see that Starline made a run of 5070 and other calibers for a hot minute? Yeah, and they've sold out like that. You'd think they'd keep doing it.
Yeah, they even did 5650 there for a minute.
Jake, Everything Black Powder says, I called up Starline, told them who I was, and they started making it again.
Yeah.
Mark Hubbs, yeah. Yeah, Chiappa, I can't remember the exact size, but you'll have to do a little research. But I know that Mark Hubbs has a bullet, so several other people. And it depends on the era, I would say. I can't remember off the top of my head unless Duke does the 59, an early 59, which bullet it was.
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. Hardy said Buffalo Arms was the place to get it when the initial run sold out. They might still have some. I don't know. So have you been reading any firearms books there, Snapper?
Not too much. It's more basically lately it's been books on, well, it's still firearms-ish related. I've been reading a lot on the Texas Rangers, some of their older history. I find it quite fascinating.
Still working on getting Matt Patterson, I see.
Yeah. One of these days. It would be cool to have. I don't know. I wish I could just move back to Texas. It'd be so nice to be able to just walk through the areas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you can drive down there anytime you feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how it goes with vacations. We always do one vacation a year, and it's usually for whatever my son wants to go.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to hold him down and force him to go to Texas this year. I haven't been home in 18 years.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to at least be in Texas once again. Be nice.
Yeah. Gina Wood said that's $33.33 each. Good. Soylent Green said, Mark's been a while. Yeah. Wishful List said, I just got my first Kibler Colonial in 54. That's a good point to bring up, because I believe here in about a month we're going to have a Colonial in 58 as well. So we'll be making some videos on that on Smoke in the Woods. It's going to be Noah's. He's building his Noah's been working pretty hard at building an authentic fur trade era get up. Spent a lot of money on it, and he's getting pretty close to having a good setup outside of he's
got a good tailor. He's got a really good tailor. I mean, yep. It seems like he's got a really good tailor. So,
and that Colonial rifle is going to be his rifle of the mountains.
That'll be cool.
Hardy Hat 4972 said, maybe someday the Usual Suspects will make another run of Pattersons. I assume they still have the tooling and such. I hope they're better than the last run of Pattersons they made.
I still haven't even played with a Uberti Patterson at all.
Well, yeah.
I heard they're well, was it the Uberti or the Pieta that was junk? The Pieta's is terrible. But the Uberti is not as bad as what I remember you guys saying. But
yeah, I don't know. You'd have to ask Duke. The Uberti is the better.
Duke.
Give me just a second.
Okay. So yeah, the Uberti is definitely the better of the two. I haven't shot one, but I've handled Dukes, and yeah, it's very much better. Which is interesting because you can run the Patterson in the fur trade era if you're doing late 30s, so early 40s, you know. So,
I wonder how many people would have actually had something like that.
Well, we got to wait for Duke to get off because he can tell you. Or not exactly.
It would have been pretty interesting to think. Like, that would have been a cutting edge, firearm at that time. Especially for, like, a fur trapper. If you were out in the woods, would you see it as something you would want? I don't even know if they would consider that a big enough caliber.
If I was a company man and close to the company, where I could get my hands on a good old simple smoothbore flintlock pistol if I needed to when that thing went down, yeah. But if I was by myself, probably. Free trappers didn't trap like that most of the time. Mostly company men anyway. But It would be extremely expensive, extremely underpowered for a lot of things, I would think. But the Patterson rifle exists, and Duke's back, so he can tell us about it.
Yeah, so on the Uberti, it's awesome.
It's good. It's good.
The Pieta could be awesome if people that knew how to gunsmith a Patterson worked for Pieta, but there's nobody that knows how to work a Patterson there, so.
Yeah,
I don't even know if they're even still making them now, because I don't know. Somebody told me they've kind of dried up.
Yeah. Soylent Green says Pietas work fine, but I do like Uberti revolvers overall. Are you talking about the Pieta Pattersons? Okay, that would be interesting because you'd be the first person I know out of several who have them that it works right out of the box. We're not talking like a 51 Navy or something that maybe has a light hammer spring and cap jams or something. We're talking about completely out of time, parts not in the right configuration. We're talking it's a nightmare sometimes for those Pieta Pattersons.
Now, somebody told me that long ago when they first came out, they were decent, but I know that right now what they produce isn't that great.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking that you would make a pistol and it be that bad and you'd still not fix it.
Well, people aren't buying them to shoot. They're buying them to
that is true.
Their collection.
That is true. Most of these guns aren't shot. They're hung on a wall.
And to be honest, that Pieta Patterson, I fired 12 or 10 shots through it, and that's all. And I might never fire another shot through it again.
I think I got 15 through mine.
Yeah, and that was after it had been completely redone on the inside.
Who made the replica of one that actually had the loading lever?
Uberti.
Uberti. Now that's the one I really want. I like that look. That is pretty cool. I was actually looking at an original that had a loading lever for quite a while ago. That almost got into the collection, but unfortunately not. I don't know why the Patterson has never been. It should be the most important gun because it's like, the Genesis, but it's never really done that much to me. The Dragoons to me are more.
I was about to say, in my opinion, the Dragoon's the most important. But
yeah, and the 49 pocket size, like the pockets in the Dragoons are like my favorite. They're just either really handy or they're just cartoonishly big, and that's fun.
But we were talking, Duke, about Patterson's. We'll get to it. Let me read a couple comments here. He said, Soylent Green said, I have two. One is old, one is new, at least as of 2002. That's actually still, you might still be in the good then because that's actually pretty old. With no issues. My Pieta Star single action is a train wreck. Yeah. This is the first time I've heard, Hardy said, this is the first time I've heard anyone is still making a Patterson. Where would you get one now?
I don't think, I really don't think they do. If they do, I haven't seen one on for sale anywhere in forever.
You could buy one through EMF, I think, or, most of the places, I think probably, man, it's been so long since I've even had my.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. I think
I know it's kind of a similar situation with the LeMat. Like you stop seeing the LeMat around the same time as the Patterson. I just haven't seen them.
Cimarron, you still see them. They still pop up on Gunbroker from time to time. Used Ubertis and stuff. Let's see. No Apologize 2018 said I have a Uberti Patterson and it's iffy, made in 2007. Soylent Green said they stopped.
And that was almost 20 years ago.
Early 2000s. Pieta or Uberti? Uberti did. Stephen Sheet said, hello there, folks. Hi. The usual importers don't seem to have them on their websites. Wishful List said, when do you think the Trapdoor series would return? I've been thinking about it, but the trouble with that is picking up a full-time second job to do those videos. I'd love to do it again. It's just, you got to find the time. And right now life's up in the air, that's why we barely have time to live chats. Someday, hopefully. Yes. Still have all the books, still have all the guns, everything I need. But, you have
everything to do the whole series with the guns, if I remember right. Like you guys have everything still. So
except for the X models, a few rare carbines and stuff. But
yeah.
Of the main guns, yes, we have all of them and all the books, everything I need. It's a matter of doing it, That is a commitment to, because for one thing, 5 years ago, people would gobble up a hour and a half, 2 hour history video. Now you can work on that video for a month straight. Get that hour and a half video out and, it'll do less than the video you spent one afternoon making. So you gotta
everything's TikTok now. TikTok length. If it's anything longer than that, it doesn't do well.
The long format video crowds aren't there anymore like they once were.
The only thing I could think of would be to make a bunch of short videos instead of, almost like chapters instead of a whole big video. Have almost like each chapter is a video. That's still a lot of work, guys. That is still a lot of work.
Maybe a bunch of 10-minute videos. I learned my lesson on shorts. They can just kill a channel. I don't even like to do them anymore. I do them every once in a while on Smoke in the Woods, but shorts are just, they're death to a channel. Didn't they start making shorts like you could do up to like 10 or 15 minutes now on a short? Something crazy like that. You could do three last I checked. Yeah, but the subscriber base you get from them, it's false subscriber
horrible.
Base. They don't come back.
You get a crap ton of subscribers, but no video watching. Like nobody comes back. They subscribe and that's it.
Then YouTube sees your long format videos and they're like, you have 30,000 subscribers. Why aren't you getting so many views? And so they stop pushing your long format videos. But anyway, different story. So I do them every once in a while, but I don't like to do them very often. But back to the topic at hand. Someday we'll get back to it. It's just going to have to be when things settle down a little bit. Okay. Steven Sheets said a reminder for my live stream starts at 3:50. Okay. Shane Chimney said, would flintlock ammo be classified same as a fragment bullet?
Huh?
You mean like buck and ball? You might have to, Shane, you might have to reword that a little bit. Soylent Green said, Pieta did announce that the LeMat and Stars are coming back. When? Nobody has an idea. They made Facebook posts. AR American said, how's the cabin coming, Garrett? It kind of hit a standstill last winter, and I just got to get back to it. I wound up doing so much other stuff in the summer that I got to get back to it. But now I'm going to a reenactment this weekend, and then the next, I got to get back to it because Larned's coming up soon, and then it's one of those things. I got to get back to it. Did you hear that Pieta is using MIM parts in their pistols now? Doesn't surprise me. Squirrel attention spans. People have lost their attention span. Yeah. Hey, guys, welcome back. Where's Ethan these days? Well, Ethan is helping run a gun store. He's a full-time gunsmith. When he's not doing that, he's taking care of his kids and taking them hunting and fishing, and there's not a lot of video time in all that these days. He said Pieta is making a Colt Python clone.
Really? That'd be interesting. That would be interesting.
There's a lot of weird stuff, man.
They do.
God bless them. I love my little Italians. I love Italians. They're hilarious people. They're great.
They make a wonderful looking semi-auto hunting rifle and shotguns, and I've never seen any of those modern ones in the U.S.
Soylent Green, it's not really reenactments. This weekend we have a 3-day rendezvous at a place called at Garden Plain there. And I guess I've never been to it. Ethan's been to it. They asked us to come, and I guess people come out and they want Ethan to give a talk on some stuff and bring a wall gun, and they're going to shoot the wall gun and do all kinds of stuff like that. They need to make an 1897 Winchester Repro so I can make a trench gun. I'll give you a little advice. If they make a repo, you'll always be able to buy an original 97 Winchester shotgun for cheaper. And some of those old, really rough ones, shine them up if you want to. I hate to say it, but if you want to, make your trench gun out of one of them original long ones that nobody's using.
2 originals, and what I paid for the 2 originals was the same price as one of those brand new Chiappa ones.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they're better. They're so
Isn't that
slick.
sad?
They'll go off every time you pull the trigger. Sometimes they'll go off even when you don't pull the trigger.
Yeah. I've got both of those too.
Shane Chimney said, don't see any fishing rods. Do you ever go fishing? Not me so much. I mean, I do once or twice a year. Ethan does a lot more fishing, and I know Duke does, but not so much. In the summertime, I'm booked up. I get a couple squirrel hunts in the winter, and that's about it.
I bought a fishing license this past summer, and I think I went 3-4 times. Not enough. But I was also, this new job, I was in 2 months of training that didn't allow me to have time to really go fishing.
Yeah. Doug Duke said 50-70 brasses around about $1.50 each. Yeah, it's way better than $20 each that I've paid in the past. That was, but I had to have
back when you were doing the Trapdoor series. Oh my God.
It was bad. It was extremely bad. $200 for 10. Well, actually, it was more than that. Anyway, Jolly Jake Level said Pieta's Python clone is supposedly called the Blacktooth.
I have to check that out.
Pieta announced the Python clone in November or December. There are videos on it. It's not released yet.
I'll have to check that out.
MK Ultra said MIM isn't inherently bad. I have some of their newer Pietas, and the internals are hardened better than my Ubertis. That's always been the case.
Yeah.
Pieta's always had harder steel than Uberti.
Pieta
uses
defeat a Chinese file that you buy at Walmart, and that Chinese file could just melt the Uberti like butter.
Yeah, they use cheese, I guess. It's basically cheese steel. It is so soft. But
I think
Pieta does harden their steel when you use decent steel.
I think it comes from their hardening techniques.
I don't think they harden them hardly at all on a Uberti. I mean, there are hardened parts on a Uberti, but they're really soft still. They're still really soft.
Soylent Green said Italian screws are made out of blued butter.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Let's see.
something about the case hardening that Uberti does. It looks really good nowadays. It used to have that really washed out look, but it was
Yeah.
harder. And then the stuff that looks good doesn't harden the metal as much.
Yeah. Hardy said, I hate to cut down talking about 97s and original. Maybe if I find one that's already in bad shape. Oh, yeah. Used to be, I don't know if it's still like this. Used to be every gun auction we went to in these small towns or something, you know, and go to auctions. Gun shows are terrible on price, but the auctions you would find 4, 5, 6 of those at every auction that were just in terrible shape would bring $80-$90, you know, and that'd be a good project to rebuild one and make it into a trench gun if you wanted.
And it would be, I mean, if you did it right with the little bayonet lug and everything, I mean, it would bring value to the gun and bring that gun back to life.
Yep.
So I would say that it's 100% okay. If they were rare,
just make
or
sure
if you found one that's in really good shape, don't do it to one that's like perfect shape or something like that.
If it doesn't have the firebomb on it, though, just make sure that when you sell it, you know, there's a way everybody can tell, you know, that's not an original trench gun, because there's a lot of fake original trench guns out there.
Well, that's also the key thing too. If you ever buy an original valuable gun, do your research, because if you don't, I promise you, you're going to get screwed.
Yep. There's a lot. There's way more 97s out there now, trench gun form than ever went to the war.
Yep. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Wishful List said the price of Swiss powder has gotten insane. I saw it yesterday, $65 a pound. I saw that today. I actually was about out of homemade powder, and I was like, I don't really want to do the work to make a whole bunch more powder. So I looked it up, and I was like, just today, I was like, let's see if I can order some Swiss. And I was like, $60 a pound. Guess I'm making powder. And you know what's sad? It's
Yes, I'm calling Jake. Jake, you got any extra powder, buddy?
It's very powerful, but my powder is cleaner than Swiss. And you go shoot Swiss again, and you're like, oh, that's why everybody wipes their bore like between every shot in a rifle. It's because this production powder is dirtier than what we're making.
By the way, we should also all 100% thank Jake for completely changing this entire, hobby when it comes to black powder, single-handedly.
The way you said that, all I could think was feed Jake. He's been a
feed
good
Jake.
Dog.
Yes.
Okay. Cool Hand forgot. Said hi, y'all. Italian screws are made. Yeah. Uberti just needs to stop making their screws out of bubble gum. Yeah. MK Ultra said, Dick, that's exactly my experience with the Chinesium files. Yeah. It's an acid wash on the steel. Yeah, T. Burkhoff said that. It's not, Uberti does not do a very good job hardening, which is fine because I don't know how hard the original ones are.
So the way they do that acid,
hard.
I was watching the video. I found some video where they went over and toured the factory and showed how they do it. They get the frames, they dump them in this stuff. It's basically they come out red hot. That goes into the acid solution. And something about that temperature and that acid, the way that they do it, the temperatures and stuff, that's why it's soft. It's just not hardened right.
I've been wanting to do just for fun, sticking the little paint can full of charcoal for the same way you'd make your charcoal for black powder. With that charcoal in there, seal that little top and stick a frame and the bolts and nuts and screws and everything inside that and throw it on the fire and let it cook. When it comes out, then quench it in oil or whatnot and see if it comes out much harder.
If you're gonna
should pick up some of that carbon from the charcoal.
If you want to get the case hardened color, you got to use aerated. I can't remember if it was distilled water.
Oh yeah. For that, I want to do that, but you got to have a really good setup for that to actually do real bone color case hardening.
Yeah.
I just barely got to where I could nickel plate slightly.
I don't think you polished enough. You have to have it like a mirror before you nickel plate. It should look like nickel plating before you nickel plate it.
It actually came out pretty good, except for only one spot where it was too thick and it chipped a little bit. But other than that,
it came out plus, even if it doesn't come out perfect, it's not protected as well. It's covered.
Yeah. I just say it's not nickel plating; it's silver plating. It's a little gray.
There you go.
So yeah. JG6 Gun said, I just got two 2024 Pieta and one 2025, and they work flawlessly right out of the box. Cool. Maybe they've gotten better over the last few years.
Then, no, this is, I'm guessing, 51 Navy Patterson's.
I thought we were talking about Patterson's. Maybe.
I mean, we were talking about. I didn't think they were making them yet. Like that new.
Yeah. No, if you're talking about just like cap and ball revolvers, no Pieta.
Yeah.
I'll say it and let Duke tell you the difference between Pieta and Uberti, Duke.
Pieta is one of those that you can shoot all the time, and Uberti's one of those you show off.
Yep. You take your Uberti to the reenactment, and you take your Pieta to the range.
Because I got two Uberti 1860s now, fluted and a non-fluted, thanks to Garrett. And I don't remember which one of the two, because I swapped the frames on the barrels. Because actually, when I swapped them, they actually fit perfect. But one of those two guns, anyway, what I was getting at is the springs broke on it, and all I did was cock it twice. And the trigger bolt spring went out on it. So, yeah, Uberti's just there for the looks.
Turkey Creek said, Garrett, what are you using for a dye to form your pucks when making powder? I cannot for the life of me remember who made it. It was some guy's name, and then it was called Pucking Dye. And it's not one I would suggest because it's a 2-inch. And it comes with a bunch of stacks, so you can do a bunch at a time, which is fine. Like I said, I get really clean powder with it, but I don't get the most powerful powder with it because 2 inches is really hard to get the right compression on no matter what. I mean, we got a 60-ton press that can do it, but I got to drive into town to go to that press, whereas my 12-ton press doesn't. You lose some FPS on it, but like I said, makes really clean powder, so it's all up there. Let's see. Yeah, Duke or Snapper, what are you using? You had a dye that was you're like little bitty.
Yeah, I use a bunch of different ones because I have a lathe. I just make my own. Experimented. I wanted like really high compression, and it makes really dirty powder, and it slows down when it's really highly compressed. Honestly, I forgot the exact amount, but the one that ends up pretty much lining up with your measure, your pour measure spout, if you weigh it to 60 grains versus like pouring it in. Once you get that about right, it's about the cleanest and the most powerful I've noticed. So if you overdo it, you lose power, and if you underdo it, you lose power. But it looks like if you underdo it, you get cleaner powder. I mean, it just depends on how how well everything's cleaned and everything. It you know how it is. It's stuff's like it's chemistry. You got to know what you're doing. You got to take your time and do it right.
Yeah. It's been a while since I did it, but with that 2-inch die, was giving me everything I can out of a 12-ton press. I believe I was 100 feet slower than Swiss and just slightly faster than GoX, which is not the end of the world because it's cleaner than both of them by a long shot. But if you're trying to do, and the only place it really matters is when you're doing a cap and ball, a revolver, or cartridge, black powder cartridge. Because if you're doing this in a muzzle loading rifle, just add 10 grains and you're there and it's still clean. So, that's where
the way I kind of see it is consistency between shots, and your cleanliness is more important to me than power.
And I found
it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to kill anything with it these days. So
Jake can chime in on this out there, but I found the faster I get, and it might just be my powder, my setup. Yes, I'm still using lead. I've still got clean powder. I don't know. Maybe it's because the lead's so hard. Well, it's actually Babbitt. So, it's really hard lead, so it doesn't shed a lot. But if I found that the more I compress it, the dirtier the powder burn is. It's like the higher pressure I get out of it, the dirtier the powder. So I don't know why that is. It just seems like it happens for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Gina Wood said, you all sound so good. Sure have missed you all. Well, we're glad to be back. Eric said, had a Uberti with dual cylinders and 45 Colt and ACP. The ACP cylinder and the gun couldn't be cocked. Brand new in the box. Had to go back to fix it. Sounds like you had it was rubbing on the the little lip. They're right above the loading gate on the frame. Well, is that the head spacing lip there?
Yeah.
Or it could have been it's been so long since I've talked gun stuff.
Me too.
Your actual bolt that pops up from the bottom, if it's a little bit off, if it pops up if it pops up late, it'll be hard to not want to cock in because you're trying to push it past the cylinder when it can't move. If it pops up early, you could slide it in, but it'll scratch your cylinder a little bit. You always want to pop up a little earlier than late because then it will fall in. But late's bad, and it could possibly that. And then to fix that, you trim your bolts, the little two springs on the end, the inside that interacts with the hammer. You either make that shorter or longer, and that changes the pop up when it pops up.
And you birdies also have that notorious. Well, I don't know if they still have it or not, but the first one I bought had that notorious notch in the recoil shield where they cut it out and left a gouge there.
Yeah, instead of smoothing it out, they actually just kind of step it.
Well, it was like for 5, 6, 7 years there. Every Uberti had that. I took my that one I traded to Garrett, that 4440, and I filed that to where it was still there, but it was smoothed over because the one thing I had a problem with is when the cartridge is unfired, that cylinder would turn all day, but as soon as them primers that had been fired come around, they had raised back just enough that they would catch that and drag.
Yeah.
That makes okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think I think Plowboys Ghost had a video on how to do that, but I don't know if it's up anymore or not with YouTube the way it is. Cool Hand said, well, yes, welcome back, guys. Shane Chimney said, gunpowder on steak. Is it true? Does it salt it up? If you want to eat sulfur and potassium with your steak, potassium nitrate with your steak, but if you want fertilizer and sulfur in your steak, go ahead.
Well, the potassium nitrate, the other name for that, saltpeter. So
apparently they put that in food for the military. I heard that rumor the whole time I was in.
They pull the nitrates out of it. Yeah,
saltpeter was put in at one time, and it hasn't been done for a long time. This was like during World War II. To keep the guys from thinking about things that they shouldn't be thinking about when they're in combat.
Exactly. Women.
Saltpeter tablet, which was basically anti-Viagra.
Interesting. So I wouldn't suggest it, in other words.
Depending on your age and what activities you still may or may not partake in, go ahead and try it if you want, but...
But that was a rumor I always heard in basic training, is that they put saltpeter and exact same reason. And you know what the weird is too? It makes sense
that
though.
Would be the sulfur.
Yeah. So I can't remember if it was the 40s or the 50s, but somebody told me that they were giving him those tablets when he was in the military, and I was like, what the heck? And I looked it up, and it was like way back.
I know that the only reason that makes kind of sense is when you're in basic, it's true though. You never even thought of the opposite sex or anything. I don't know. I guess it was me. Even the other people we talked to, you just didn't have your natural male urges-ness, whatever it is. I guess it's just because you're probably around a bunch of guys all day, or they put saltpeter in your stuff. Anyways, we're going to change subjects now.
Brandon Leo 3
apparently in canned meat they've already put saltpeter in it.
Wow,
it's a meat preservative.
Well, they pull the nitrates out of that's a whole different deal anyway. Brandon Leo 3 says, so glad to see y'all again. Hope you fellas are doing well. We'll definitely be listening to the podcast tomorrow at work. Let's see. Going through here. Soylent said, my Cimarron Uberti Smith & Wesson first model American and 44 Russian had to go back. The barrel was .433 and leaded like crazy. It was hard to open. Waited 3 years for it. Replacement barrel made it work better. Good deal.
Yeah, that's good.
Jake said powder over 1.95 gram. I don't know how you pronounce that. Read it, Snap.
Well, I gotta scoot in because it's on my phone, real far away, and I'm an old man now.
Over 1.95
grams per cubic centimeter slows down and gets dirty.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. The more compression, the dirtier. No. I think it's just a point of diminishing returns, is what he's saying. I heard the same rumor. That's why I asked. Let's see. Powder below. Read it again.
There we go. Powder below 1.5 or 4 or 5 grams per cubic centimeter slows down and gets dirty. Hold on.
So what you're saying is there's a sweet spot.
So it does the same. There's a sweet spot. Too little, too much. It slows down and gets dirty. Perfect. You're good to go.
Yep. That's what I'm hearing. Anyway, we were talking earlier, Duke, about Pattersons, and I got off topic here a little bit.
Real quick, Garrett.
Yeah.
Jake, what is the best size puck for a regular somebody's house press? Somebody who has a normal, what are they, like 20-ton presses you get at Harbor Freight?
Well, most people get 12 tons.
Are they 12 tons? Whatever the normal ones you see at Harbor Freight that most people have, what is the perfect size puck for them for when they max up their press out to give them that Goldilocks number?
Yeah. And you will bend the press frame before you max the jack out.
Yeah. Mine does a little nice rock when you
That's
hold
why
it.
we kind of gave up and started going into Caleb's shop there. He's got a big electric over hydraulic 60-ton. Okay. Anyway, while we're waiting on that, back to what I was asking. You there, Duke?
Yep.
Okay, so we were talking earlier about Pattersons in the late fur trade, early, Buffalo trade era. And there was a story I remember you telling about people that had Pattersons that spent their whole time shooting prairie dogs with a rifle. Patterson.
Oh,
rifle.
yeah. That was Josiah Gregg. Book is Commerce of the Prairies.
Mm.
And that was in he went out in 1839 and then again in 1842. And I think that was on the first one. So they had him and his brother both bought them. They each bought a rifle and 2 pistols.
Mm-hmm.
Does not specify the caliber of either of them. But he said that they could go around with, and I know he had spare cylinders for him because he describes having the amount of shots that he had was, he basically had 2 cylinders for each. I think he said he had 34 shots loaded at all times.
That's a private army back then.
Yeah.
Between 2 men.
Yep. If you could,
that was bragging rights. That's some serious bragging rights at that time. That would have been pretty cool.
And all they did was shoot prairie dogs.
Between the pistols, there's 20 because they're 5-shot pistols. The rifle was a 9-shot, so there's 18. So it was 38 shots. 38 shots, for each person. And he said he was talking about he went out with this Comanche. And they said Prairie Dog Town. He pulled out his pistol to try to impress this Comanche with how fast he could fire that pistol. And the Comanche looked at him and turned around and fired his bow just as fast as he had fired that pistol.
That is true. But it didn't make as much noise.
No.
Just wasn't as cool. Okay. I was thinking about that because we were talking about the possibility of the Patterson in the late fur trade. And Doug Duke said, Duke, tell us of Kit Carson with a Patterson.
Supposedly, there's a lot of mountain man tales about Pattersons. And if every mountain man had a Patterson that supposedly had one, when you read some of the stories, there was a lot more Pattersons made than what we have or what they figured out. But there was one of them. I cannot remember the story now, but Kit Carson, a couple other trappers were down somewhere along the Cimarron, and they got attacked by supposedly the Comanches. And the trappers were all riding mules. And so they couldn't outrun them. So they wound up finding a buffalo wallow, killing the mules. And then they held off the Comanches with Patterson pistols. And then there's another story that.
So this would have been before the Texas Rangers situation then.
About the same time.
About the same time.
About the same time, 1840s. Early 1840s. The Texas Rangers situation was 42, 43.
I think so. I don't remember the exact date.
Kit Carson,
yeah.
43, 44. So it was all about the same time period when the Patterson was starting to really get popular out in the West because, like I said, there's a lot of stories of a lot of people having. There were Pattersons out here. the Army of the West, that's the one where you can actually find documentation of how many they had, because they document when they were crossing the river and lost them.
Yeah. I remember there was, and I'm sure a lot of people here have seen it, but there was an older family movie, Seven Alone. This is in the early 70s when they were making all those family wilderness movies, And it was a true story based on the Sager family. And they run into Kit Carson. Like, these kids basically lose their mom and dad and decide they're going to take their wagon on the trail. They decide they're going to take their wagon anyway. And Kit Carson helps them. And I always thought it was so impressive that even for such an old movie, first of all, the dad has an over-under swivel breech rifle on the Oregon Trail, which was cool. And Kit Carson is tricked out with a couple of Patterson revolvers for just a family movie in the early 70s. Yeah. That was pretty impressive that they actually went that far and did that. And so Kit Carson is always, when I think of him, I usually think of two things. Later, Kit Carson, Hawk and rifle later. In that same time period, 40s and 50s, Hawk and rifle, two Pattersons.
Doug Duke's got the date right, June of 44.
Yeah.
That's when it was.
I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to watch a set of Pattersons go into a river and then you not be able to find them, because that's some serious money back then.
Oh, geez. So when Taylor crossed the Rio Grande at the start of the Mexican War, they lost
a lot.
20 some. I'd have to pull the book out and look at it again. There were rifles and pistols. Because when the Mexican War started breaking out, it was like the Dragoon officers, they were buying every Patterson they could find. And then when Kearney went out to California, same thing. They was crossing the river out there, and they lost a bunch of them.
Something I've always been curious about, around that same time, you start seeing a lot of copies from Mexico of Dragoons. I've even seen Walker copies.
It'd be very hard to make a Patterson copy.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to make a Patterson copy. Well, but I've always been curious to know, like, I wish somebody would make a book on that. Like, I'd love to see more subject on that, because there are a lot more than you think copies of Dragoons and Walkers from Mexico, from that same era.
I don't think they would even want to make a Patterson copy. Once the other ones, by the time the other ones have come around, there's no reason to go.
Yeah, it'd be much easier and smarter to copy a Dragoon than it would be.
It's not like today where everybody's finishing their Colt collection, in 1848. Yeah. We got a Dragoon, a Walker. No, we got to have one of those Pattersons. No, you don't. Wishful List said, I won't buy the Italian muzzleloaders. As far as rifles, I agree with you. They have gotten way too expensive, and American-made guns are way cheaper and better. And that is 100% true. Even if it is a kit gun, you can buy a Kibler for $400 less. A Kibler Hawken for $400 less than you can buy a Pedersoli Hawken, which is just stupid in my opinion.
And truly, those Kiblers don't take a lot of fitting. You're pretty much coloring the wood yourself and just coloring the parts. Together. They're already put together. Like, you could make it, just throw it together and it's going to shoot. You're not going to need to do anything crazy.
I put my
it would be stupid to pay for that for Italian.
Outside of sanding the stock, I put my Southern Mountain Rifle together in 3 hours.
I believe it.
The only thing
and it's better fit still.
Yeah. Italian is muskets, because the muskets they've got aren't too bad. Price is kind of getting ridiculous, but it's like that Brown Bess that I sold Ethan. That's probably one of the best Italian long guns I've bought.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Kibler in America, Kibler has the corner on the market because he's the only one doing it like that. But somebody somewhere is going to come along and make something different. I remember it was funny because I was watching back about 3 years ago on this chat, and somebody was like, is Kibler going to make it, or what's going to go on? Is Pedersoli going to run him out of business eventually? I said on that chat, I said, just wait. He's going to make a Hawken, and he's going to burn the world down. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's making a Hawken.
I really think that if he actually got to the point, too, that he finished them and sold them more, like he would even do better.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, like, it's a small company, and they basically have CNC machines cutting everything out. and they're
Yeah.
just selling the kits. But if he actually put together a small group of people, that's the whole job was to finish them and make them pretty and sell them.
Yep.
And especially if you put them for the same price as like a Pedersoli, there's no way in the world I'd buy a Pedersoli over that.
Yep.
No way.
I would get the Hawken there. I mean, I want everything they have. The only reason I don't really like the Hawken for them is because the history of it's not there for me now. It's not as romanticized. And I have a full length Hawken stock that I really got to finish that Robert gave me on here. And I was sitting there thinking about that today. I really got to finish that. If I have one, it's going to be full length Hawken. But the Hawken gets so overplayed, as far as the half stock mountain man gun.
I always liked a full stock rifle. I don't know why I'm never big into half stock rifles. I like the romantics of the full stock.
The Hawken and the Patterson both, they're overdone in the early fur trade, and they were more of the 1840s kind of end of the fur trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish somebody would make a replica Patterson rifle. I think somebody did for a little while.
Tell them your story, Duke.
The what?
The Patterson rifle that you lost through your fingertips.
Well,
I heard this one. Come on.
It was a non-functioning condition, but in a condition in which, it would make a great display piece. But yeah, I walked into a gun show and I was sitting there looking around. And I walked up and I seen this little revolving carbine. It had to have been like a 28 caliber or something. It was a squirrel gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that. I said, that looks like a Patterson. And I look at the tag on it, and it says Eller's model 1842. I think that's what it said on it. And I was like, Eller's, I haven't heard of that one. I just passed it by, $200. And I was like, I just passed it by. I don't need another Safe Queen. And went home and got on the computer, and I just kept bugging me. So I looked up Eller's model. Oh, Eller's was the one that kept the company after the company kicked Colt out of Colt's own company. And Eller's sold all the Pattersons as Eller's models, and all they were was leftover Patterson parts they threw together.
Patterson parts.
Holy crap, I went to the bank, I drew out that $200, and I went back to that gun show, it was gone.
And some snapper in the background, this guy's walking through and go, holy cow, what is that? $200? Sure, why not?
I took a picture of it with my phone, but that phone is long gone, and that picture is long gone.
I've always had this thing that if I see an original gun that is, from the 1850s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and especially if it's a Colt, but even if I don't know exactly what it is, if it's under $500, I'll buy it. If it's not a little pistol, if it's like something that has presence to it, I'll buy it.
Good night,
Never
Turkey
lost
Creek.
on that.
I need to text you in a few days, Turkey Creek. When I get back from this deal, I need to get back in touch. It's been a while.
I also have a friend that he's the luckiest son of a gun I know. He went to a estate sale, and this guy collected guns and stuff. Well, the guy didn't have any guns that he really wanted, but he had a box, like a big cigar box, full of parts. And the thing was like $20 for this box of parts. And it had some parts in there that he was wanting. He's like, okay. He bought it. He took it home. Well, that box had a false bottom in it. And he pulled that false bottom out, and there was an original volcanic pistol.
Oh.
Yeah, those go for a lot of money.
So he took it down to a gun store and come home with $15,000.
Yeah.
Made out all right, huh?
And then this lucky son of a gun goes to another friggin' sale, buys another box of it was reloading stuff. He's going through that, and he finds a little, it was a plastic gun case in the bottom. It was like one of those Pelican cases, and he thought, okay, opens it up. There's an original Smith & Wesson Schofield. Wow. That one he kept.
I would have too. The volcanic would have been hard to shoot.
Yeah, he
just
decided to sell that. I think he bought a AR-10 with it.
Yeah.
And then blew the rest of it at a casino.
The The gun store that I like here in Vegas is called Accuracy. It's a little tiny hole in the wall gun store, and they're the only gun store I've ever seen here that actually sell like old guns, used guns. Everything else is like brand new, you know. And they get the stuff that walks in. You know, crackhead walks in off the street. And matter of fact, that the single action army that's back there, the one with the U.S. Cavalry model with the cut down barrel, that one, that's an 1880, fully functioning gun. And that walked in with a crackhead. Now I want to say they paid $150 for it. Crackhead walks in, just boom. Now I paid a hell of a lot more money for it. Excuse my language. I paid a lot more money for that but that it's that same story there all the time. Like all the time, guns walk in that are really valuable, very rare guns that some crackhead walks in with, gets $100 for.
Best deal I had was that second Walker I bought. I think it was $75 is what I paid out of pocket when I walked out with it.
That's a good deal.
That's the one the cylinder was bound up on.
I walk in there and they got it listed as non-functioning parts gun. It was at Cabela's. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting there looking at it, and that wedge is just drove in all the way, and you can't cock it, you can't do nothing with it. So I was talking to the guy, and they had it marked down. I can't remember what they had it marked down, but it was a couple hundred or something like that. Well, that particular store was having a little sale on their black powder guns. It was like 15-25% off, something like that. So I asked him, I said, will you give me that discount on there? And he says, yeah. He says, I want to get rid of that thing. I'm tired of looking at it. Nobody wants to buy it. And I said, okay. And I had a bunch of club points on my card. So when it's all said and done, it was $75 and I paid for it. And I said, you want to know what's wrong with it? He says, yeah, sure. I said, wedge is in too tight. He looks at me and I said, hand me a mallet or something. He handed me a stick and I popped that wedge out, put it back to where it's supposed to be. Gun functioned fine.
You birdie?
Yeah, he was so pissed.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the last time I went into Cabela's and bought a black powder gun, I don't even remember which one it was now. I don't know. It was one of my 51 Navies. And I decided in there I wasn't buying from them anymore because they put me through an entire background check, driver's license, fill out the paperwork, everything, but it wasn't the ATF form. It was their own personal form. Just everything. It was exactly like the ATF form, and you had to fill it out. And I was like, why in the world? It's like, no, I didn't have any problem doing it. If I can buy guns. I have nothing to hide, but why in the world would I do that for a black powder firearm?
They do the same thing here, and if you don't have a CCW, you still have to wait 2 days.
Really?
Like for a black powder, yep. You still have to wait 2 days for a black powder gun here. It's so stupid. Now, if you have a CCW, you can go in and you can buy it same day, even with a regular gun. But if you don't have a CCW here, you have to wait 2 days. Black powder doesn't matter. Even antique guns, like when I buy those from Accuracy, until I had my CCW, I had to literally wait, do a full background check, everything, even on antique guns.
Colorado's gotten like that too. It's 3-day wait on everything.
Huh. Well, back to what you were asking, Jake. Jake said the happy spot for a die for making your powder is 1 3/4 or 30 millimeter for a 12-ton press, I imagine. Let's go through. I'm just going to pick out some questions over here, guys. See if I'm going to skip down a little bit. Because I'm a little behind. Yeah, Hardy said, didn't Bat Masterson just buy a bunch of pistols and sell them with a big story about how...
I guarantee, yes. I guarantee almost any famous person did that. I will bet money, like serious money, that the gun that they believe that killed Billy the Kid, the one that sold for like a couple $1 million, the 4440 version, that I guarantee you that probably was not the gun that killed Billy the Kid. I know for a fact. It's like, how could that gun be in that exact same spot? Being a U.S. silver, like cavalry gun, it's an actual military marked gun in 4440. Like that gun had to be brand new, somehow changed to 4440, and then been in that situation.
Yeah.
No.
I like it. Story I heard. Zelda James, Jesse James's mom.
I was just thinking of that.
She sold guns all over the place, and one of the famous ones she sold was an old Lehman muzzleloading rifle from the 1840s She sold it as the gun that Frank and Jesse used to rob the Clay County Bank with.
That'd be a horrible gun to rob a bank with.
Especially at that time period.
Oh, no.
Somebody bought it.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. But you know what? At even today's time, if you could get it and you knew it came from his mother,
Yeah.
it at least have value, right?
Yeah.
It at least have some value to it. But I really think that the most important guns, like in history, that we wish we knew where it was, like we have some of them, right?
Yeah.
But I have a feeling they're probably sitting in somebody's case and we'll never know. Like actually, I really believe the one that was used in Tombstone, like Wyatt Earp's, I really believe his is in the ocean, literally in the ocean.
Yep.
I really believe that Josephine knocked it off in the ocean.
Took you from it, yeah.
That's kind of like the day I went to the gun show up in Rapid City, and this guy had a bunch of guns there sitting on the counter that were tied to, prominent Native Americans, and he had a Sharp 74 that he said belonged to Red Cloud. And I was sitting there looking at it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I was like, it looks real good, but you forgot to file off Pedersoli on top of the barrel.
Well, you never know. Okay, so here's a question that has been coming up every live chat for the last 2 years. When is that new Adams revolver coming to the U.S.?
Oh, God.
I think
So,
no
on
idea.
Facebook, one of the guys, I can't remember his name, he posted on there that they just got done with their first big run or something like that, and they were hitting the European markets first, and that should be by the end of the year they're going to hit the U.S. market.
Yeah. Another thing is a couple people in there, Soylent Green and a couple others, I think Hardy, it's mentioned that Kibler is trying to get a Longland pattern brown bess out for the 250th anniversary.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Cool. That's where Ethan and I always kind of had
I'll
to
be right back.
go different ways and why he does better with that. The military guns of that period, they're not, I don't know. My interest runs more towards the civilian, but I'm glad he is making a military gun. Okay.
I need to get a Charleville.
Hardy Hat said, I always thought that Kibler being such a perfectionist kind of holds him back a bit. I feel like a very slight lowering in quality could allow him to sell finished guns at a price similar to Pedersoli. He could sell them cheaper than Pedersoli, but
there's a reason. Like he's using technology now. It's not like he's a guy in the backyard with a file with the most perfection as possible.
yeah,
Once you get this perfection perfect on a CNC machine, all you have to do is adjust for wear on your tool and bits and dies and stuff when it's cutting. And then you make something perfect, it'll cut it perfect every time.
and here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's already a market for those guns that are close to perfect, but not quite, and those are the India muskets. So, and he's never going to be able to sell a $600 musket like them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think
And,
his niche is completely filled.
I think if he actually made it hired a couple people off to the side, and then, you sold a couple of those guns, that's like $250, $300 more, fully finished, just with a basic, nice finish. I think you could easily do that.
The thing is, we've never seen anything like this in the replica market
No.
before. And so he has something, like I said, he's a little company here in America, and everybody says you can't do it in America like Italy, and he is eating the lunch of the Italian big companies. So I think what he's doing is working.
The last 10 years, you can, CNC machines went from, especially one for production base, because normal Haas CNC machine, they're usually, for a decent one, you're looking at $500,000 to $1 million for the big ones if you're going to actually make stuff. And now they've dropped down quite a bit. You can get decent ones in the $250,000 range. I mean, that's still a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But business-wise, you could now have 2 to 3 machines, what you would for just one. And they're also easier to use. They're more like straight-up internet-based, cloud-based, so you don't have to have insane software to do this stuff anymore. Every year, the cost of those kind of production is going to go down, and it's going to get cheaper. And honest to God, I'm surprised there aren't more people making guns in there. Honestly, I think a lot of it's regulation based.
Well, it's that.
It wouldn't be easy to make a perfect Colt in your house with a homemade CNC machine today.
Yeah. It's that, and the fact that the era he's in is not mass production. So in order to get what you would consider a historically accurate gun, you got to have someone like him who has his hands on 10 or 15 of the gun originals, you know, so that he can take an average and make a historically accurate gun like that. And so I think that's one of the big deals.
Yeah. And he'll probably spend a good year dialing in a gun to make it perfect. I bet he has probably a crap ton of barrels and crap ton of like things he's cut where it's not perfect, where it's that, you know, that's probably the thing. Become a good friend with him and start buying the stuff that's not quite perfect.
He sells.
But once he gets that stuff dialed in, though, it stays that way. All you have to do is just hit print. You know, you got to load in the machine, dial for wear in your tooling, and hit print. And to nothing, so this is going to make money. Like, and the faster they get and the cheaper they get, he could get more and more. He could make it a bigger company, but then the bigger the company, the more issues, more product, more issues is how's the market for these antique style guns. Pedersoli makes it. I mean, they make a lot, but I really think that with the right set, right everything, there should be a larger niche, and it should slowly be filled. I'd love to see him get into more than just long guns too. I really think there should be more of this going on, but I mean,
I think it's going
to. Our community really isn't that big, though.
It's going to have to be someone else, because you talk to him, you ask him, he has videos out. He hates the hawking. He hates the looks. He hates the cap lock. He hates the stock. But he's making it because it makes a lot of money. And so I think you're going to have to find someone else who opens another company who wants to print the later cap stuff. And he's going to just sit back and just eat up the flintlock stuff. And he's a passionist like us. Like we love our era, and that's the era I love. If somebody said, "Oh, we want you to start making things that are like the 1900s and newer," you know, like early World War I, World War II. Like I like that stuff, but that's not where my passion's at. I'm not going to spend all day and night sitting here trying to make everything perfect when it's something that I don't care deeply, deeply, deeply about. And that's another side effect to this is we're passionate people on our hobby, and our hobby is big, but it's really not that big. So there's money, but how much, like it's a give and take. Yeah. So I would love to actually see what the real numbers are, because it would really kind of make you think, like, is there money to throw around and actually make more companies doing the same thing? Yeah. Or something similar, but in different areas. Yeah. I'm going to say, Hardy Hat, I need to finish this because I didn't see another comment he made a little further down. He said, let me rephrase, not lowering the quality, but he would be able to finish. He would want the finish to be so perfect he couldn't do any large volume. He would spend so much time sanding it would eat up all the profits. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And that's why he sells them unfinished, I imagine. Yeah, that's exactly why he sells them unfinished, because he probably has that exact same problem. And the thing too is his stocks, they're CNC, like that's a computer numeric cut. They're not like a person doing it by hand at all. Yeah. It's CNC. Yeah. Once it's dialed in, it's dialed in. You just stick in wood and they cut. Cool Hand said people will buy anything. Yes, they will. That's true. But I think people will buy America. All you have to say is this one's made in America, and that still holds weight in the firearms world. It doesn't in a lot of other places, you know, vehicles, whatever, this or that. But in the firearms world, that holds a lot of weight because you're not getting all those, what they call it Cimarron, the chicken pox, the massive amount of markings and proofing and all this stuff that you get over in Italy. And it's funny when I watch people who make videos and stuff that would never fire a gun that isn't proof marked. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't shoot any American guns then because they're proofed, but they're not marked a lot of times. I like to look at a lot of people that are more modern gun people, and they look at old guns and they're like, where's the serial number? It's like they didn't have serial numbers back then. Oh, they're not going to mark it up. You get the real weirdness from those kind of people. Those markings cost money. And they were hard to make too. And once you messed up you can only hit the die so many times before it starts, degrading. And then that was somebody literally with, chiseling that thing out. That was not easy to make back then. Yep. Hardy said even the Hickok Colts Rock Island aren't 100% verified. No way to really know for sure. I think that they're close enough to be like, hey, it's likely, but
There are guns that are verified, but there's a lot of guns that are verified because the person said they were, because the person was part of the ordeal, which is that firsthand accounting. But we know so many firsthand account people who were buying guns and selling us as the gun of, this and that. And the gun that killed Billy the Kid, that 4440, that gun went through a couple hands. Like it went for a debt that was owed. You really think that if he owed a debt to somebody, it was to one like the bartender or something? It's been a while since I've heard the story. But would you actually give that gun to somebody, or would you give one that's very similar to it?
Yeah.
And say that this is the gun to cover your debt? And that's the only reason they think it is, because that was a gun hanging on a bar stool for 50 odd years, and then his Paulita sued for it, and she got it through the government. And the government, that's the weirdest thing about this gun too. That gun doesn't have to be the gun that killed Billy the Kid, in fact, but it is legally the gun that killed Billy the Kid because of the court case. It's a really weird thing. The court case 100% says legally it is the gun, even though it might not be the gun that actually did it.
Yeah.
It is the weirdest legalese back and forth, because that's how the legalese had to go. But I do not believe, it's possible, right? But I want to know how that gun became a 4440 so fast. And this was a gun that was marked for the U.S. military. And I want to say it was like in 1881 or 1882. And he's killed in what, 84? 3? 2? It's been a while since this gun would have been brand spanking new when it killed him. And that means the gun had to go from the military's hands to a civilian's hands, because it's supposed to picked up off of one of the guys that ran with Billy the Kid. That was the whole story. Pat Garrett picked it off of one of the guys that ran with him. So it would have had to have gone through like 3 owners and a caliber change and almost no time. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but that doesn't make sense to me. It just likelihood that this thing has a new barrel and cylinder.
Pat Garrett was infamous for hacking up his guns and changing them around, though, too.
He was.
He hacked that 73 Winchester down to nothing. So
that is true, but at the same time, he was also somebody who sold guns a lot. He owed a lot of people a lot of money, and he owed a lot of debt to a lot of people. And anytime, I guarantee you, he probably gave away a couple guns. This is the gun that killed Billy the Kid.
Yep. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? I would have done the same thing. Why? I mean, come on now. I hope that I'm a better person than that, but I guarantee you, when push comes to shove, if I would have been him, I would have done the same freaking thing. Yeah. So legally, that is the gun that did it. But was it factually the gun that actually, in real history, that killed Billy the Kid? I personally don't think so. Just because it's just too much to think that gun went through so much change in such a little time. And why would you change it so far? What's the point? Unless you absolutely wanted 4440, which, I mean, I could see because Billy the Kid loved this Winchester, but that wasn't his gun. That was his friend's gun. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that means you'd have to find a barrel, a cylinder at that time in New Mexico. I mean, your frontier, it's possible, but I just don't buy. $2 million to me is far more why? Then I think it's more of a cool story and a gun that has legal ties just because Paulita got it. But I don't think so. Unless we actually had the slug that came out of Billy the Kid and saw that it was like 4440 and matched to that barrel. Yeah. I wouldn't believe it to 100% be the gun. I would say it's probably, to me, I would give it 30% chance.
Okay.
At my highest.
Desert Rat said Brett Hall's channel about Billy and Roberts is compelling. I haven't watched that. I'll have to check it out. But there is one. Where'd it go? Oh, okay. Up here. Vaquero Joel had a question for Duke. You there, Duke?
Yep.
Okay. He said, hi, everyone. I'm able to watch the live show now, but had a question for Duke. What research sources do you have for Hayfield fight? I'm interested in learning more about the civilians.
So for the Hayfield, the number one go-to I got is Red Cloud's War by John McDermott. That is a 2-volume book that's currently not in print. So when you find it, it's spendy. And then there's the other one, and I don't have it. It's on my list. I have read it. Let me find it here. I got it on my Amazon books.
Which one are you talking?
There's another one that I don't currently have because it's also out of print.
The only one I have that covers it slightly, well, there's a couple of the history books, especially the trapdoor history books that give a little detail on it. But the only one I have that's the hayfield is so much more difficult to find info on than the wagon box. But Wagon Box Fight by Jerry Keenan has some of the hayfield fight stuff in it.
Oh, let's see here. There it is. Exactly in the right place. The history of Fort C.F. Smith. We'll delve into it a little bit. I also have a couple of publications. If you got access to JSTOR, I think they were in the Montana History magazine. They delve into the hayfield fight, and they're just articles. I was trying to think. Now I've got a firsthand account from one of the guys that was there at the hayfield. He was the Confederate, the ex-Confederate. I can't think of his name. But anyway, yeah, there was quite a few civilians there. But John McDermott's is the one that really kind of gets in depth, and even that is a bit limited. Because a lot of these guys, they were there for that, and then they kind of just disappear into history. But the Confederate guy, I wish Sheldon was here. He'd know who I was talking about.
He's supposed to be, but he might have had to go into work.
Yeah. Let me look here. I'll see if I can find it.
While you're looking there, Josh Harris said, I bought an InvestArms Gimmer Hawken. I'm not unhappy with it, but I should have waited and saved and bought a Kibler. Yeah, those InvestArms Gimmers aren't bad, though, especially considering if you bought it in a kit, you can file those markings off if you want.
Okay, it's 9 civilians. Al Colvin was the main guy that kind of ran it, because if I remember right, he was also an ex-Confederate. And after the lieutenant was killed there, he kind of took over the operation. They don't have that guy listed there. I can't think of his name. I've got his book over there. But he was one of the guys that was there. He gave his account of it. Of course, it was years after, so you always got to take that with a little bit of salt. But Red Cloud's War would be the one that you want to start with if you can find it. Yep. I got both of my copies, and I think I paid over $100 for each volume, and it's 2 volumes. When it was in print, it was $75 for the set. Now it's like $300 for the set.
Yep. I was saying those InvestArms Gimmers are still good Hawkins. Desert Rat said 1968 Gun Control Act made serial numbers mandatory. Doug Dukes talking about that cult of Pat Garrett said, but Snapper, how do you really feel about it? Manny 88Q5S said, Garrett, that squirrel hunting video was cool. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. If you guys don't know, over on my other channel, Smoke in the Woods, Christmas Day, it was 80 degrees. We were out trying to float my nephew's new toy boat in the river, and we drowned it. Became a submarine. I couldn't find it. And so we wound up just doing a real quick. I hadn't done a gun video in 7 months. I did a real quick squirrel hunt, and I thought this will never amount to anything. Made it like a 7-minute video, and it got 8,000 views in about 6 hours. So
that's real good.
Yeah, it was crazy for a little channel with only 1,000 subscribers.
That's kind of like that day I put
been a weird winter. Go ahead, dude.
I was gonna say that day I put that short up about the 1897. I put 3 shorts up on it, and then on one of them, I didn't think they were gonna get very many views because, like, the first day they only had like 100. Garrett texted me after that. He's like, "Hey, congratulations on that." I'm like, "What?" And I looked at it; it had like 400,000 views.
Yeah,
holy cow!
I was like, "What the heck?"
That's when he started making the North and South, the Billy Yank series. I missed the Billy Yank series.
Oh, yeah. I missed that series, too.
Yeah, I would do that more, but kind of with my job, I kind of have to not be on social media. And YouTube,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's understood.
And what I have, I might have to take down because of that new job. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Let's see. Desert Rat said, I think Garrett, not me, Pat Garrett, killed the wrong man. Josh Harris said, Garrett, I really like your capote. Thanks. Noah put this one together in about 4 hours, which I helped. I did the cutting. He did all the hand stitching on it. It's all hand stitched, whip stitched. And we just use the, I need to make a video on it, I guess, but we use the Crazy Crow patterns to make these out of really like cheap blankets because I wanted to practice on cheap blankets, $40 blankets before I practiced on $300 blankets. But they came out really well. And we need to make a video on how they work, how they came out. We got a couple different styles we've made. The channel's name is Brett Hall. Look for Brushy Bill Roberts in that lineup. Multiple uploads.
I don't believe the Brushy Bill Roberts thing. There's a lot of information out there on that, and census reports and everything that everybody ever says. You even get the face recognition person that they said, "Oh, it was like 99% face." The person came out and said, "That's not what I said at all." He said that we just say, "Hey, that." We did the report. They didn't give a conclusive evidence. He said that they didn't believe it was the same person, but in the book it showed that they believed it was the same person.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's plenty of resources here on YouTube on one of the betters, and he does a lot of videos on it, and he uses everything you can think of to prove it. But and I'm sure we all know who we're talking about, Wild West Extravaganza.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Manning said, I wish Kibler made a flintlock Hawken. Well, I know why he doesn't. And it's interesting because all of our lives, when we were younger, we always thought that the Hawkins, the correct Hawkins of the mountains were full stock flintlock Hawkins. And, Bob Woodfield's done the books. Charles Hanson's done the books. There's just not much to go on historically for records of flintlock Hawkins, unless you're talking about the original Ashley Super Hawken. And it's a little different, but there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of evidence that they existed. And the funny thing is, and we'll all agree on it, nobody's arguing that they couldn't exist because they make anything you want. It's just that as a standard production, they almost all the records tend to point towards the percussion caps.
There are a handful of Hawken flintlocks, and that's from when they were being made in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly.
To St. Louis, and there was probably a handful that were made in St. Louis before they went to the percussion system. But I've only actually seen one flintlock Hawken in person.
Yeah, one of those early ones.
And it's a full stock. Basically, from the lock back is how you can tell it's a Hawken, and everything from forward, it's just a flintlock.
Yep, just a Pennsylvania style rifle. But the J&S, what people consider the Hawken, the J&S, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of documentation, which kind of makes me sad because I have that stock over there, and I'm going to make a flintlock Hawken. And I was talking to Turkey Creek 1823 about it, and he said if anybody asks, just tell them you walked right into that Hawken shop and told them you want a flint. So yep, it'd be like today getting a car with a manual transmission.
Yep,
you could probably do it. You definitely could do it, but it's not standard. But I would, I'm with you.
It's sad. It's almost impossible these days to get to go into and get a decent car with a manual transmission. Like if you want a performance car.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you want the higher end, like that was half the reason why our Huracan didn't last that long. Like I didn't want a manual. I wanted a manual. I hated the Lamborghini with the automatic. That's still actually the only reason I still have my Z06 Corvette is it's a manual. You can't get a Porsche like any of these cars. You can't get them with a good automatic or a good manual anymore. Wow. There's a company that's using the transmission out of the Ferrari F40. Because it's an automatic manual, and apparently it's the same very similar system that's in the Lamborghini Huracan. And I was actually thinking of doing this until we decided no longer to have the car anymore. But they took these shifters and actually made it so you could be a manual, and it's actually one of the best manuals ever. But it's a home built kit, and it's like $80,000 for the kit. It's stupid.
The last manual we bought new was a 08 F350. Oops, sorry. Sheldon. But the last manual we bought was an 08 F350, and it had 2 transmissions put in it, a 6-speed, before it was done. They just don't make them very well. They don't know how to make them, I don't think, anymore. But anyway, back to the...
Well, apparently the same thing with engines. Have you seen GM's recall on all their engines?
Yeah.
They forgot how to make motors. Holy cow.
All right, I got to call Sheldon back right quick, guys, check on him. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll talk in the background. So Duke.
Yeah.
What Flint or cap and ball Colts do you still have? I haven't seen any videos on you having any cap and ball Colts in a while. What is still in your collection?
Oh, everything that I've done a video on, I still got.
You still got all your 51 Navies.
Oh yeah.
You had a Dragoon. You had a Whitneyville still?
Yeah, I still got all of them. I got the 3rd model, 2nd model, Whitneyville, my Walkers. I added Garrett's 1860 fluted. I added that 2 years ago. That's the last cap and ball I bought. I was thinking about buying another 51 Navy for going out to Fort Larned, but I'm not going to be able to make Fort Larned this year probably at all. So I'm going to put that off till next year. But yeah, I still got all those. It's like I add to the collection. I don't get rid of a lot of them, but there's a couple.
Get rid of it.
About letting.
That's what I try to do too. I try not to sell anything. I kind of try to keep everything and slowly get other things instead of getting rid of.
Yeah,
back, Garrett?
Caleb, back when Caleb didn't sell guns, but then he sold a bunch of guns.
And then he sold a bunch of guns?
He did for a minute, and then he quit again. But I'm the opposite. I let things go so I can get something new because that's the only way I can do it. The inventory rotates.
I was so bad. I'll have a gun that it's like, oh, I'll trade this off real fast, and then when it's gone, I miss it.
There's only one gun that I sold that I missed. And that was that 1889 lever action. 12 gauge.
Yeah. That was a pretty cool gun.
Yeah.
A shotgun?
Yeah. The one, and I sold it to Caleb. Hey, there's Snapper.
Hello.
God dang.
It's okay, dude. He made it. Holy cow, he made it.
It's all good. How you doing, Sheldon? Can you hear us?
Hold on, I'm still having an issue hearing.
Okay.
Well, we can hear you.
I'm on speaker.
You need to flush again, sounds like.
Huh? So what are you guys talking about?
Oh, just anything and everything. No subject.
I got a question for you, though. Who's the guy that wrote memoir that was up there at the hayfield, the Confederate?
I don't know.
You're the one that told me about him because you're the one that told me what book to get. Finn Burnett. That's who it was.
Oh, okay. Was he a Confederate?
Yeah, he was an ex-Confederate.
Oh, I
Him
didn't know
and the guy that wound up running it, the civilian wound up running it after the lieutenant got killed. Al. I just said his name too. But yeah, I was trying to remember that earlier and I couldn't remember it. But yeah, Finn Burnett. That's the one. Another book for Hayfield.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know he was a Confederate. I think I must have missed that part.
Yeah, it was him and Al Colvin. They were both ex-Confederates.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, there's your answer. Hardy asks, what do you guys think about the current state of historical gun content on YouTube? I think the quality is a lot higher than it was in the 2010s where it was all bushcrafters and not historians.
Right.
Yeah, YouTube's weeded out, myself included sometimes, weeded out everybody who wasn't super dedicated. I'll say that much. They've made it so hard to stay in that only people that are in are the people. And the people that have been in for 5-10 years at this point, we're all running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Basically.
Funny thing is, like the YouTube content, the only thing that YouTube's kind of doesn't mess with is the bigger channels that make YouTube money.
Big money.
Isn't that weird?
Hit hard all the time. I mean, Hitchcock 45's got hit a few times with stuff, but they tend.
You know what's sad is, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they tend to leave them alone, and then us smaller channels like Mike Bellevue got hit. He posted something on Facebook. He got hit for a video that had been up since he started. So yeah, it's like it's kind of a hypocritical thing. It's like, oh yeah, if you're making us money, it's okay if you kind of go outside our standards a little bit. But if you're just a small channel, no, we're going to take you down.
We were getting hit every week on 11 Bang Bang. It seemed like we would barely get through with not getting 3 strikes before the 90 days, and then that 3rd strike they hit on like 95th day. So you get to restart. So man, we were the last couple of years, and a lot of it was people were just trolling it for some reason, didn't like us and turning us in for stuff that didn't make sense. But
you know how they switched to the rule, like you can't hold a gun in a live stream.
yeah,
Like you can have one in the background, but you can't hold it. There's so many high-end streamers that break that rule with modern firearms.
yep, all the time.
And there's even been one where the dude actually had a negligent discharge on a stream, and they didn't even do anything. They didn't strike him. Nothing.
Because it's mostly based on who your enemies are and who reports you.
I think that's exactly what it is.
I'm pretty sure the Remington fanboys had it out for me.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah, all that crap he talks about Remington.
I don't understand I have a Remington. I just don't understand the hype around it. Well,
No, I agree, 100%.
Binds up within half a cylinder.
But it's better than the Colt because back in the day, you could carry an extra cylinder and swap it out.
Here's the thing. It comes from reenactors, and I'm not saying living historians even. The reenactors
Movies.
of the 70s and 80s who didn't have that research, didn't have the actual... no, I'm not saying the Remington's a bad gun at all. Some people like it. But what they were doing was they would pick it up, and they would be like, you have your Colt, you have your Remington. And they would be like, well, the Remington's more used to my, Smith & Wesson, more like my Smith & Wesson that I shoot all the time in the 70s. So they're like, I'm going to shoot that. And then as soon as they had it, of course, just like we all do, when we pick up a gun, it's the greatest, it's the best, it's the first, it's the biggest, it's the best, it's ours. And
Yeah.
it just I think that era of the reenactor, because I was told that by those older guys all the time, that I remember going to high-end historical events, and there was in the Army that they would carry the Remington in 5 or 6 cylinders and swap them out, and that's how the North won. So
100%. That's fact-based true.
I went looking for sources for that swapping cylinders.
Yep.
You're not going to find it on the
Never
Remington.
did find a source for swapping a cylinder.
You know why? You know why? Because you can't do it on a Remington. You can't do it on a Remington.
The only
Not
time
on
I
original.
found it is when after they started the cartridge conversions.
Mm-hmm.
Because those early ones that had that back plate on there, you had to take it out to reload it, or you could swap it. But prior to the cartridge, the only ones I could find it was for Colts. First one is the Pattersons. That was designed to come one extra cylinder so you could swap it without having to reload. There was another one during the Pony Express where one of the riders carried a 51 Navy with 3 extra cylinders. And then the U.S. military, about the time that the Dragoons were going out to Fort Laramie, which would have been the mid-1850s, they picked out 12 soldiers, issued them Dragoons with extra cylinders to test in the field to see how effective it would be to swap cylinders. And then after that, it wound up the Dragoons just carried 2 revolvers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just the only thing I find was on Colts. I never did find one on a Remington with the cap and ball swapping.
I've owned 7 Remingtons now. Original, not replicas, originals. And I've never been able to swap cylinders.
A snapper.
The headspace and timing is off.
Yep.
Between them, like I've never been able to do it. They're close. You could make it work if you had to. If it was life and death, I would. You could force it through. They're so tight, like it's not going to happen. Like you have to modify these guns between each. Especially the earlier models, Civil War models. After Civil War models, like later ones, they started getting better. But those early Remingtons, they just were not, the quality wasn't there, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's a cool gun. I love it too. But the quality of the manufacturing was not there. You ever pick up a first? Yeah, I've never been able to swap them fully out like a Colt. And another reason you can know Colts is it's very common to run into Colts with different cylinders with different serial numbers all the time. As people were, break one, they'll throw it on another. But with the Remington, I've never, ever been able to do that with an original unless the gun was modified to do so. If you open the frame up more, you could do it because usually your biggest issue is front and back play of the cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And then your timing of your hand is the second biggest issue. They're close, but they're not good enough to y'all get some that will lock, but you'll have a weird headspace, or some that won't lock at all. And you have a decent headspace. They're so tight, you can't get the cylinder in the frame. I'm sure you could, if you had like 7 or 8 guns and you had them all taken apart, you could find ones that would switch, but it's not as simple as grab one, slapping another one. It's just not. And I really think the biggest one for the black powder side with the Colt is you just being so open, the fouling had places to go.
Mm-hmm.
Where on the Remington, it would blow it forward and it would blow it directly into the pin. And that's why you can't get a couple cylinders before it gets tight. You need to start throwing more lube at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's
so
like
what were you going to
shoot Remington and shoot a Colt? I can shoot a Colt all day. My hands won't get dirty. 2 shots on a Remington, my hands are black.
And we've said this before on this channel many, many times. Like, yes, a Remington is stronger because it's got a top strap, but it's black powder.
Yeah, that's everybody says. It's stronger to what the extent and purpose.
To what?
You can't put enough powder in the chamber to make.
And that's the downfall of the Remington too, because that top strap sure gives a little extra strength, but when it blows, like you get a cylinder that blows, and it did happen back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That cylinder blows, that gun is done.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
On that Colt, that cylinder blows. Snapper, you had that one that had the...
Yeah, I have an 1860 that works great right now that actually has an entire blown cylinder out of it. That I put a different cylinder on and the gun's great.
So the cylinder blows, and...
Matter of fact, it's behind me.
That whole
That's her right there.
Yeah, that whole chamber's like blown out, if I remember right. It blows.
Yeah, and that saved that gun too. Like that's an original, guys, as well.
Right. The barrel might get cracked at the back, and it might bend the base pin. But the way the Colt's designed, you can take all that off. Your gun's still functional. You just put the new parts back on.
Yep.
But and to support that the quality wasn't there, there's numerous letters written by soldiers during the Civil War. C.C. Agur, who was one of the big commanders up in the Powder River area, wrote a letter back to Washington and said, we don't want the Remingtons. We find that they're inferior. The soldiers have no faith in them, and we would prefer to have Colts. And then Ethan's has that one from down in Arizona that basically says the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They said the quality wasn't good and that the soldiers didn't have faith in them.
Yep.
I have 2 frames here. One's actually Garrett's. Garrett, you still own a Remington. I just got to get it sent to you one of these days.
It's funny. I just came up with my memory on my phone. I sent that 4 years ago.
Hey.
You've been the owner of an original Remington for 4 years, and you hadn't even got it in your hand.
Oh, the original.
I wish I could hold a gun.
I thought you meant my old snub nose.
Oh, I need to send that to you. I need to send that back to you too. Oh my God.
Hey.
But I wish we could hold guns because we'd get a strike if you hold a gun and alive. But I could literally show you one right now that would be, I'd put it right in front of you and be like, tell me what you see wrong here. The frame is like, and it's not cut. It's perfect. But the way, like the person who shaped the left side of the frame and the right side of the frame, like the way the front would curve in. If you looked at the bottom and you were looking at the trigger guard, at the bottom it would curve right where the lever, your loading lever is. If you looked at that, it's supposed to be a nice little even shape. This is like real hard in on one side and then smooth on the other. It looks as somebody like dropped it into a grinder. And that's the best way to put it. And then tried to smooth it out. And all of them are like that. And if you ever open one up, like they did a decent job on the outer finishing, but when you open them up and you look on the inside, when you take them apart, I mean, you cut your hand going in there. There's burrs everywhere. Yeah. They're not smooth. They're still great guns, and you could make an original one if you cared about it, opened all up, and you did all the work. But then you're also modifying an original gun, so it's a little like what you keep it the same. At least people got to experience what the gun was like new.
Go for
they're
it,
great
Sheldon.
guns, but they're not a Colt.
What were you saying, Sheldon?
I forgot.
Yeah.
He's like that guy Colt or Snapper won't shut up, so I forgot.
No, it's all right. You had something you were going to say about Remingtons?
Oh, I forgot what it was, but I'll say something.
Okay, go for it.
I want to say it was maybe True West, and I kind of give True West magazine kind of a
Yeah.
maybe. But one thing I just remember seeing him talk about was when they gave 500 Remingtons to Cheyenne and Arapahoes and down.
Oh, we lost him.
Yep.
He went silent.
Well, basically, yeah, I had an argument with a guy one time too about the Remington. He said, yeah, it was sparse period of the Colt. And I told him, I said, you ever take one apart? I said,
it's a Colt.
It's a Temu Colt.
All
he did
the sad part is it's like the replicas of what most people get their ideas from on these two guns. And a Colt has to be precisely made with the base pin for it to work perfectly. Pieta and Uberti do not do this right, because on a real Colt, you can drive that wedge in as far as you need to. It's tight, and you can't overdrive it like you can a replica. Like it's precisely made so that if I hit that in as hard as I could, I'm not going to be able to get it out, but it's not going to tighten up the gun. It's already got a preset, and they stay that way. With a replica, they're like that. And on a replica Remington, they're made just as good as a modern gun. So it's like the Colt is crappily made and it's not made right on a replica. And the Remington is made better than the original. So they're actually swapped. When you have a replica, you're like, wow, the Remington is a better gun than that Colt. In real life, it's the replicas are better, and the originals, it's swapped. Colts are better on the originals. Remingtons are better on the replicas.
Well, and the wedge thing, that pulling it tight, like on the walkers and that's what that was supposed to do. Because if you look at
that, yeah, right. But if you look at like these, there is that wedge is designed to lock the frame and the bottom part of the frame up. You're not actually supposed to be able to take up headspace with that. If I drive that in all the way, it will not tighten up on any of my originals. They will not.
Yeah.
The big reason why Ubertis do that is because Uberti has a short arbor, because they measured the length.
The arbor short.
I think what they did is they measured the length from the front of the base pin to where it goes into the frame and forgot to account for the threads.
I think so.
About
I think so.
1/4 inch too short.
Because no matter what I do, you can't on. No, I don't know if being that is. Well, the arbor like this different on that, but I mean that is an original Dragoon, and that is a 40. It was made in 48, really early Fluck Dragoon. But if I could drive the wedge in, if I hit a hammer and hit it as hard as I could in, it will not take up any headspace. If I put a gauge between the front of the cylinder and the front of the barrel, and I drive that wedge in as hard as I can, or even like if I put it in a press and pressed it together, that wouldn't change, because that pin is what's keeping that barrel from going in further. It's the pin is the exact measurement with the bottom of the frame, not it didn't have anything to do with that wedge. Now the wedge is supposed to keep that tight, so if there is play that gets made, that wedge can get hit in different, like deeper, and bring that up back to where it's supposed to be. But you can't go tighter. You can go to a certain extent, but it won't go tighter.
That's one reason why I can't remember his name, but he's one of the Goons Guns. One of the things he does for the fixes on the Ubertis is he just takes a little brass disc and puts it on the end of that arbor, and that takes up, and then that cures that. That's one of the reasons why everybody says that the 1860s the Colts shoot higher than a kite, is because
that too, because they're cocked up,
pushing the barrel up, and that makes sense. But I've only got one. I've only got one one Colt Uberti that shoots to point aim, and that was my 1861 Navy. I still got it, but that one is like, I was sitting there shooting low thinking it was going to shoot higher than a kite. It's right on with the sights.
The 61 Navy is just a dream. Like, by the way, that was my favorite of all my guns, is the 61 Navy.
It's the
pocket Navy. Yeah.
You mean
the 62 pocket Navy.
Pocket police. Yeah, pocket Navy. Yeah.
Pocket police. Well, my pocket Navy. Yeah. I love that gun. I love it.
Get rid of that one. That's all I did get rid of is I traded my 1862 pocket police for original Hope saddle tree.
Yeah.
That
guy said, I got a Hope saddle.
Yeah, you're thinking the 61 Navy, that 51 Navy with the smooth barrel, like the 1860 barrel. Yeah. Like I said, it's been a while since I've talked guns, guys. I'm sorry.
This guy told me, he says, I
don't have gun friends here.
He says, I'll trade you for it. And I said, sure, because I was wanting a Hope saddle.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got it, he says, I don't know if it's original or if it's recently made. And I was like, I looked at that and I said, I can tell you right now, I said, that seat's too small for me. Because by the time I sit in it, some parts of my body are
going to be hanging out.
I don't want to be rubbing on. And I got to look at it, and I pulled off the leather that he had put on it. And I got to look it up underneath it, and I'm like, holy crap, this is an original Texas Hope Confederate saddle tree.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Civil War. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, the tree is pretty sound. I mean, it's got a little wobble because, it's old.
Mm-hmm.
But the rawhide is shot. And then somebody at one point in time painted it with red ochre. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna try to get somebody to rawhide it for me because, like I said, the tree's original, and I'm gonna have to put some epoxy or something in there because there's a couple spots where it's dry rotted, from where the leather or the rawhide's pulled away and the wood's been exposed. But I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good trade. And the thing is now is it's just sitting back there in my back office and not doing anything.
It will again. Plowboy's ghosting. Hi, Plowboy. He says,
hey, Plowboy.
Let's catch up on a few of these. I'm just kind of scamming through, guys, for questions or comments. Manny said, in my opinion, the Remingtons are about the ugliest gun I saw. Oh, I don't think they're necessarily ugly.
I don't think they're ugly.
I think
they're okay looking.
They're not as pretty as a Colt, and there's really nothing wrong with them. I just, as a younger person, when I got a Colt and all the old timers were just bad mouthing it, and I was like, why? And then I started systematically going through all of their reasons why the Remington was better and realized that historically they had no ground to stand on. And so my love for the Remington, let's say, diminished quite a bit just because of the fanboys.
I think Hollywood made the Remington what it is, mostly. I think so many people saw it in like Clint Eastwood changing out the cylinders, ended up making it.
Yeah.
Heck, I wanted one after I saw
Tail
that.
Rider. Yep.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people went on that instead of actual factual based, true things.
The thing with the Remington, the same thing with the Hawken.
You just got overdone.
Movie came out featuring that gun. It looked awesome. It was all great, and everybody had to have one.
Still a great movie, though. I just watched it the other day.
Yeah.
It is.
Doug Duke said book is called Finn Burnett, Frontiersman.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking of.
I hope Sheldon comes back.
I texted him and he said, hold up.
Okay. Soylent Green said for years, reenactors said the Remington was the Confederate gun and the Colt was the Union. Probably because Lee Van Cleef carried one as a bad guy. In reality, it's like the other way around. The number one handgun of the Confederacy, the 1851 Colt Navy.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
John Singleton Mosby said that their preferred gun was Colts, and they were supplied by the Union Army.
Indeed.
Desert Rat has a very good point. He said, I found out from reenactors not to listen to reenactors. Well, that is where you draw this huge line, and I don't put myself in any of them, but you draw this huge line between three things. You got your reenactor, you got your living historian, and you got your historical interpreter. And those are three different levels, and the reenactors down here and the historical interpreters will way up here. I'd like to think I fall somewhere in the middle.
Actually, I would rate the living historian above the historical interpreter.
Well, okay. It would be the definitions.
Yeah, they're pretty. You know, the thread counter. I mean, he is the guy who studies every little detail. So,
yeah, when I first started at Bench, you know, I was just the reenactor. After I was at Bench for a while, I became the historical interpreter. And it's like my gear wasn't good, but my knowledge was there.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to Fort Laramie, I was getting into that living historian. I hadn't quite fully stepped into that role yet.
Did you ever get into first person?
Oh, yeah, I did that at Ben's Fort. I tried doing it up Fort Laramie, and then they told me I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
you're scaring everybody away.
They said I took it a little too far.
I can imagine.
Especially when I got in the role of corporal or sergeant doing drills. I might have got a little too Arlie Ermy.
It's kind of interesting because, you know, they released recently on the subject of being too real. Recently, they released a 4K of the Searchers, and it was a huge deal. It's been within the last year. Supposedly,
I didn't even know this.
Supposedly, the way they did it, it's never been done before. And I haven't seen it personally, but they say when you put it on the right equipment, it's the first time they've made a 1950s movie look like a movie made today.
Nice.
Like, it is so well done that it became this big hype thing for a while. And so all these movie reviewers were like, we're going to go review the Searchers. And I love watching these people going in with a smile on their face and coming out with their mouth just wide open.
Wide open. Oh, God. Could you imagine a movie reviewer today?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And they're like, "Stop racist." And I'm like, well, you know.
Where was the trans-Indian indigenous Dave M?
Oh. Now we're going to get taken down.
Yeah. Oops, my bad.
Quentin Tarantino himself's like, why are they making a hero with these white people? Sorry, guys, this is the 50s. It was fun. I want to watch it so bad, but I don't think I have the TV set up and everything I need to do it. It'd be awful expensive for just one movie. But I love watching these reviewers. They go into it like, oh, this is a happy 1950s Western. This is going to be corny and everything else. Then they come out the other end like, what did we just watch?
No, it's one of the
that's funny.
Movies where John Wayne had to actually act in.
Yep. There was no John Wayne. There was only Ethan Edwards.
And True Grit. I mean, that's the other one where he had to actually act in.
Go the complete opposite direction. Oh, so yeah, if I ever get it, we're gonna. If we ever do another movie review, we're gonna have to somehow all of us try to watch this in the 4K.
That would be fun. So, is it just a new DVD release in 4K, or what is it?
It's the first. I don't remember exactly what it is about it. They said, but it's literally one of the highest quality 4K restorations ever made.
That'd be cool. I got to check that out then.
Mostly
I love the Searchers.
People like Martin Scorsese and some of those older directors that loved that movie when they were younger really pushed for it. So, you know, it's a thing.
They lost their career now too. Oh, crap.
Manny said Snapper must have snorted some black powder before show. He's got a lot to say, guys. It's been like a year.
I got a lot to say, all right? So I live in Las Vegas. A lot of normies, like not normies here, if you get what I'm saying. I brought Jake here once, and I felt so bad the second we had to drive past a dude in a dress with a beard and a tight red dress. I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, I swear it's not this bad. And then we go into we actually went to go see Benji at one of the hotels. And then we're in there. I'm like, dude, I swear, Jake, it's not that bad. And it's an entire group. They had some huge trans thing that came through at the same time. And I'm sitting there going, man, what did I do? It's not that bad. And then all of a sudden now it's like we're completely surrounded. And it was, yeah.
This is about
Poor Jake. He didn't even sleep that night at all. He was terrified. You should have seen him. The white of his eyes.
I can imagine.
10 years ago or so, my sister was in college, and she didn't have her own vehicle. My dad went to pick her up one day, and he sees this person walking across the parking lot in a dress. And he was like, oh, wow, that's pretty good looking. Turned around.
Oh, no.
Had a full beard on. He never, ever went to pick my sister up ever again. He'd send my mother to
Oh.
It was so funny, though.
That happened at Fort Laramie, too. I was up there, and we was sitting there doing the cannon demonstration, and the guy that was giving the talk was the one that, he'd talk for an hour and a half, and by the first 5 minutes, he'd lost everybody because he was just so boring on how he'd do it.
Dragon.
And so me and my other buddy were sitting there, and, we're sitting there snickering to ourselves, making comments about how everybody hates his talk. And he looks up and he's like, oh, look, he says, we might get some eye candy to distract us from this monotony. I look up and see this figure.
Not the eye candy you were hoping for, I'm guessing.
And it wasn't in a dress, but it was in, what I would consider to be ladies' clothes. And long blonde hair, but I didn't have my glasses on. I didn't wear my glasses when I was doing that because, my glasses weren't historically accurate. And my buddy there, his eye vision wasn't that great either, apparently, because when that person got up there to the bleachers, he had a short beard, long blonde hair. He just looked over at me and he says, if you freaking tell anybody about this, I'm going to kill you.
Moving on. Mill Creek Race.
The sad thing is that reminds me of a lot of stories I had in the Army because there was a lot of, because I was stationed at Anchorage, Alaska at Fort Richardson. And there was a lot of that there, like especially with the indigenous people, the Emu. I forgot exactly what they're called, but some of them were lady boys, And so there were guys that would actually pick up and not realize that, hey, that wasn't a girl. And yeah, there was a lot of stories like that.
I got another story from that college, but I don't know if Garrett wants me to.
Oh, great. We're going to get it. We are so going to get in trouble.
We're going to get
Let's move on. What about guns?
First live chat back.
I mean, we're already going down the gutter.
Yeah, we're already going down the gutter.
Said, gotta go, guys. I'm old. Glad seeing everyone tonight. It's been a while. See you, Benji.
See you, Benji. I scared Benji away.
Yeah. Jolly Jake Lovell said, I love the searchers for the movies itself and giving Buddy Holly a hit song. That'll be the day. That is true. Yeah, they got that from the searchers. Everything Black Powder said. Jake said, I'm still traumatized.
Yeah. We both were, man. We both were.
Spavoy said, sounds like Charlie Daniels on Easy Rider in 88. Green teeth. Thoughts on the new Taylor stuff? I'm not sure. I haven't been over there to look at their stuff in a long time. I've been more into the 60s and back.
Real quick, though, at least on our end, we're 2 hours, so it's usually only our good friends and fans that watch this far in. So
yeah. Desert Rat said, I'm surrounded by pronouns.
No.
I don't know about any of the Taylor stuff. Yeah, I don't know, Don Benson. I don't know what story you walked into, but it was probably one of those last ones.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, back to the subjects at hand. I don't even remember what they were now. Somebody said something here that I really wanted to read. Oh yeah, Soylent Green talked about Remington and said, "Ask everything black powder. He blew up a Remington with smokeless. It's been behind him, hanging on in his videos." You'd be surprised, but if I remember correctly, the reason that gun is up there is Snapper's suggestion.
He blew it up, and we were talking about it. I was like, dude, you should hang it up behind you and see if anybody notices it.
It was a long
And
time.
it was a while. Yeah, it was a while.
Oh.
That was such a nice gun. God, what did you do to that poor thing, Jake? That poor gun.
Yep. Blew her up.
You blew her up.
Blew her up.
Well, I mean, it's still
Didn't you blow up a Colt as well, or no? Did he blow up a Colt as well?
I don't know. What were you saying?
I don't think so.
I say it's still a functional Remington. It'll still drive nails and open beer bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a good hammer.
Yep. Yeah, Jake said, yeah, that was Snapper's idea, and it took months before somebody noticed it. I remember somebody being like, what is that up there? Because you blew it up, but I remember you texted us, and you're like, I'm not sure I even want to release a video on this.
That's what I was like. Why don't you just hang it up behind you and just see if anybody notices it? And yeah,
he said
that was pretty funny.
Jake said it deserved it. Couldn't
Yeah, it started it.
Couldn't stand up to smokeless powder. It deserves to be.
See, you
Poor
didn't
thing.
have the ball rammed all the way down.
On smokeless powder.
Oh, that's what it was. It was an air gap. There was an air gap in the black powder. That's why it went off, boys.
Oh.
Oh God, I still remember those conversations too.
Yeah,
I
me
finally
too.
found out why they said that. Muskets in the Army at that time had a 10% failure rate.
Yeah, thin barrel.
That's a lot.
And
That's
yeah,
a lot.
but that was considered acceptable because when they were testing Colt's Dragoons to determine if they were going to accept them into the regular service, they put them up there. And the first batch had, I think it was like a 15% failure rate.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't shock me at all.
Not nearly as bad as that early failure
And
rate
so-
on the 1860 armies.
Yeah. So they said that, it was just outside of acceptable. And if Colt was to make these, but they did recommend for him. And then when they did the next batch, it went down to a 2% failure. And none of it was exploding cylinder. It was internals.
You know what I'm wondering? If those early Dragoons, just like mine, have the Walker or cylinders.
Oh yeah, this was
Still.
in early 48. So this was
Yeah, it would have been one of the Fluck Dragoons then, yeah, because mine has the cylinder seam where the Walker is, so they shifted it when they cut the barrel. They made the Walker cylinder and then engraved them, and then they cut them down for the Dragoon, and then once they actually went to the Dragoon style, apparently they cut them down and then they engraved them so that they would actually fit. That's kind of the way you can tell if it's got a Walker
right.
cylinder, is where the cylinder seam is. If it, like mine's shifted really like far forward, so some of the seam is cut off when they cut it down.
Imagine
And
the one-
yeah, and that would make sense because the Walker's all, a lot of the Walkers burst.
Imagine the ones that were failed were part of that Whitneyville, because really the Whitneyville Dragoons were just that first transitional model.
Yeah.
And so I'm guessing it was
Which I
probably-
wish I had the cool grip, like the rounded Whitneyville grip.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess mine was some of the very first with the straight edge cuts.
You look in the Colt Bible there, it's like they've got a couple different Whitneyvilles, and they've all got.
Yeah, I've seen one that, it has a different grip. As a matter of fact, I saw a Walker with a straight cut.
Yeah, it's in that book.
Yeah.
A book's right there, but I'm not going to bring it out because last time I tried to open it, it went apart like a grenade.
I love that book so much, by the way. That is like
But yeah,
still my favorite book of all time.
Birdie produces is based off of a couple of them that had that dished. But really, it's kind of like the second model Dragoon. The second model Dragoon's not really its own model; it's a transitional because the early ones have the rounded cylinder stops like the first model Dragoon. And by the time you get to the second model Dragoon, they're just a square stop with no leads, and then the third model they go to the leads.
The leads in, yeah. I love that rounded look on mine. It's cool. It just looks cool.
Evidently,
It's probably not very good, but it looks cool.
When JDB 1878 was asking us about the Taylor stuff, what we thought of it earlier, he said they've put out a bunch of 9mm single actions and a few fantasy conversions, but a lot of people are offended by them. I am too. I guess I just don't get the draw. I mean, well, I do get the draw. People, 9mm ammunition is cheap. People want to shoot a single action.
Cheap to shoot.
I mean, it's not as bad as the lever actions with a friggin' M-Lock forend on it.
Oh yeah, you don't like that either, huh?
Oh, I seen one of those down there, my local gun shop the other day, and I looked at that and I was like, from the receiver back looks great. From the receiver forward, it just doesn't look right. And it had a threaded.
But don't you want a tactical?
Yeah.
But don't you want a tactical?
Here's the lever action that everybody's talking about. They're like, it's stainless. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I like stainless. And they're like, synthetic stock, M-Lock forearm. I'm like, okay, you're losing me. 10mm. I'm gone. I'm not even listening.
Suppressed.
Suppressed.
There's only one lever action that I seen that I would actually, the threaded barrel will be handy. And that was my buddy's 4570.
Yeah.
So my buddy, he collects guns, but he's not the greatest about paying attention to like the specifics of ammo and stuff. And so he had a couple trap doors and the sharps. And so he's just going and buying 4570 ammo. And at the one time that he went and bought it, he couldn't find any except for the basically 4570 Magnum Buffalo bore. And so he buys it and then finds out from one of our other buddies that he cannot shoot that out of any of his 4570s. So he goes and he buys an 1886. It's a Moroku Winchester, but it's rated to shoot that buffalo bore.
Mm-hmm.
And well, then he never shot it because it was so expensive. Well, we was up there one day and he's like, he says, I ought to start using this stuff for hunting and stuff. And he says, well, I ought to just take out a few rounds. Well, we loaded up his 1886. I just put one round in it just to test it. And we fired and it goes click. I was like, what the heck? So I cock it, click, click. And it just kept doing it. Wouldn't set the round off. So then I took the round out, looked at it, and I mean, it's barely dimpling the primer. They had super hard primers in it. And the hammer spring on that Moroku was just weak. It would shoot the Black Hills 4570 all day long, all the light stuff, but that Magnum stuff, it would not set off.
It has a hard primer just for that.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you punching through on that recoil.
Right. So he decides he's going to go buy another 4570. Well, he buys another one. And it was a Henry. And it had the same thing. It would not set off those primers. So he sold that. Went and bought him a Marlin just before Marlin went under. And then he didn't shoot it. Well, he got him a Marlin with a 16.5-inch barrel. The gun weighs maybe 6 pounds. I mean, it's just as light as my Model 94 3030.
Yep.
Well, he buys that. Or he gets that. He mounts a scope on it, decides, well, I'm going to use that Magnum ammo this year to go hunting deer
I
with.
see where this
I see where this is going.
Well, he decides, well, I'm going out there to shoot to sight it in. I'm not going to use that Magnum ammo. I'm just going to use my light trapdoor rated hunting ammo because he had some hollow point hunting ammo for that trapdoor. He gets it sighted in. And so then he loads up those Magnum rounds and he puts in a 300 grain solid copper or 350 grain solid copper doing 2,600 feet per second. And
Gonna fill that.
And his hunters that come out there to hunt on his place, they shoot at a deer, they wound it and it's running. And my buddy's one of those that he can take a running shot and nail whatever he's taking a running shot at. He's a really good shot. So he pulls up, gets that scope on the deer, kaboom. He had a half circle right between his eyes.
I bet.
Stitches in it. It cut him to the bone.
That's why you want to practice with that stuff.
And
I mean, I've shot some hot 4570, but never out of a gun quite that light.
Yeah, because he was sitting there and he told me, he said, I'll never shoot that. I said, if you want to shoot that Magnum ammo, I said, get a muzzle brake and put on that gun. It's got a threaded barrel.
Yeah.
Well, he went and put a muzzle brake on. And my buddy's one of those too that hearing protection is okay when you're planking, but if you're out hunting, it's so. Then he takes it out hunting again. He fires one round, and it made that gun 100 times.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he doesn't shoot that Magnum stuff anymore. He's just going to sit there until he finds somebody that wants it bad enough.
Yeah.
I got lucky. I'm deaf now, so I've got natural hearing protection, so I ain't got to worry about it no more.
But my buddy, like I said, he's one of those that he doesn't pay attention really with ammo. There's one day he calls me up and he says, "Hey, my Model 94 is not working. Can you come look at it?" And I told him, I said, I'm not in Wyoming right now because I had to run back home to Colorado. I said, I'll come look at it when I get back up there. Well, he takes it down to the gunsmith. They can't figure out why it's not working. Won't chamber around, the lifter won't work. They had to take the cap off of the magazine tube, get the rounds out of the magazine. So he goes and he buys a new 30-30 because he thinks his Model 94 is broke. Well, he has the same problem. He can't get those rounds to feed. And so I'm sitting there looking at them both. I go and I just grab a random box of 30-30 ammo and I load up the magazine tube and I sit there and I eject every round. It cycles just fine. He's like, "Well, I don't know what's wrong with them." He says, "I couldn't get either one of them to work." I said, "Well, bring me the box of ammo that you were using." He brings it over. There are 2 308 shells in the 30-30 box.
Just won't chamber.
And I sit there looking, I said, "That's a 308. He's like, "No, I ain't one of those that puts 308s in. I don't mix my ammo." And he looked at, "My God, it's a 308. I told him, I said, "Do not, next time you go hunting," I said, "do not ever take 2 guns of the same caliber ever again." I said, "Do not take that 30-30 and that 308. So that's why he got the 45-70. He takes the 308 and the 45-70.
Rock McLaughlin wants to know, Duke, though, but did he drop the deer? Oh, he's back.
From what I understand is that he hit the deer. But I don't know what it was, the recoil or whatever it was, or if he didn't have it sighted in right, but he just blew a leg off. But they did get it right after that. They blew a leg off and then another guy. Because when his Texas guys come up, I don't want to knock on anybody from Texas, but those particular hunters he's got thinks that long range precision shooting ends at 150 yards.
You know, Arlie Ermy said about Texans.
Yes, we do.
You guys do know Doug Dukes is in the chat, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying this applies to all, but with this particular group from Texas,
I'm from Texas too,
and they're shooting at deer that are 200 and 300 yards away. There was one morning I heard it was World War III erupted.
Hey.
Me and the cook counted about 7 or 8 shots, and we figured, okay, they got into a group of deer, and so they got 3 or 4. They come back with 1 deer.
Hey.
And
that's us.
Then the guys asked me, "Hey, you want the hide off that?" And when they peeled that hide, I don't want to touch it. I don't want nothing to do with that hide. Those guys, I only ever seen them bring in 1 deer that I can remember that only took 1 shot. And that was the guy that was using a friggin' 375 H&H Magnum.
Hey.
He shot that deer at 300 yards. It went straight up the deer's butt and right through his heart. It was a Texas heart shot.
That's messed up.
Can you hear
You know.
Don't call it that. That's messed up.
And then I told them guys, I said, you ought to start practicing for 300 and 400 yard shots. Well, we don't do that in Texas. 150 yards is long distance for us. And
well, I got a question. What part of Texas they come from? Because I've been to Texas and there's some long range shots in Texas.
They were down from the eastern part of Texas.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's because you ain't going to find a spot usually longer than 200 or 300 yards in the wild. So you're never going to see anything that's like 500-600 yards. You're just not going to see it.
I told him, I said, well, you need to be able, to hit at least an 8-inch gong at 400 yards. And they're like, well, as long as we can get a bullet in it. And it's like, you're not going to get a good shot at that 400 yards. And I said, had my 6.5 Creedmoor there. And I told them, I said, you see that big white spot on that rock out there? And they're like, well, that's 1,000 yards away. I bolted up my 6.5 and I touched one off right in the white spot. After that, they didn't say too much about 150 yards being a long shot.
Jake said, I never blew up a Colt. Even my Pieta 44 Navy survived smokeless powder, but don't tell anyone. And Jolly Jake Level said your secret's safe, Jake. So there's that.
I don't remember it. Like I knew he blew up the Remington, but don't know why. I had this other thought that he blew up another gun, but I think it was just the Remington.
Well, he wanted to blow up that infield he's been trying to shoot for 3 videos, but he hasn't done it yet. Okay, a few more of these.
That is true, though. Like I know that he's sets off some really spicy rounds in those Colts.
Dustin's in Guns of the West, fellas. Feels like I haven't seen you guys in a while. It has been a very long while.
Hey, Dustin.
Imagine if an uninformed person puts one of those in a trap door. You're talking about the hot loads, yeah. You don't want to put a hot load in a trap door. We're talking about that. Doug Duke said, must have been after you were talking about Texas. He said, Duke, I know that some people say you have a face for radio, but you don't have to sit in the dark.
Well, let's just say I ate something today that didn't agree with me, and I may or may not have pants on to facilitate me getting to the restroom faster.
He may be playing the YouTube mod instead of watching.
With his OnlyFans.
What's that?
Oh, no.
That Duke got the show confused with his OnlyFans.
Well,
Yeah, ask Garrett's mom about that.
we made $100 right off the bat, so that must have been why.
Yeah, you missed that part.
What?
Yeah, you got that StreamYard money now.
Yeah.
Update to StreamYard.
I'm all set.
Let's see. Shashula's in. He says, yeah, and Doug Duke said that's too much information, Duke. Shashula said, hi, guys. Vaquero Joel said, I got to go. Thanks, Duke, for the information and snappers. Greetings from Fort Richardson. God bless everyone. It's great to see y'all again. Good to see you,
Wow.
too.
He said greetings from Fort Richardson, so he's there himself.
Yeah. Desert
Wow.
Rat said 150 yards is not a long shot. No, not in the Western country anyway.
No.
Oh, it's like up there, especially up in Wyoming. You got to be ready to take a 400-yard shot. Now, 400 yards, I mean, max I comfortable shooting is 3. I could do the 400, but it's not like down there where, it's all cornfield and stuff, and then they step out and they're right there in front of you. It's, you stock and stock and stock, and then once you get to that 400-yard mark or a little closer, it's like you're getting into the point of he spots you or smells you, he's gone.
Is it like, I don't know if you've ever been out here, but this place is so weird when it comes to distance. Like you'll see something go, oh, that's maybe 400 yards. And you look at it and it's like 1,800 yards.
Yeah.
Like, this place is the weirdest when it comes to distance where you can't, it's almost impossible to tell distance. You never want to walk somewhere because it'll look like it's close and you'll die before you get there.
I learned that when I went to Vegas.
You did? What, was you trying to walk down the strip and it was way further than it looked, or what?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was like maybe a 10, 20-minute walk. An hour later.
Yeah, everything is, the distance is really weird here in the desert because you could see, especially when you get outside of the city area. I get it when you're on the strip, but when you're in the desert, like you can see like horizon to horizon very well. And you guys should get the magnification of the earth at sometimes, and things will look really close. And that is so far away, you'll never get there.
When I first went up to South Dakota, when I was up feeding cows up on the flats, because where I was at, the place had 2 big ravines that were on either side of the property, but in between that, it was pretty darn flat. And I was up there and I took a shot at a coyote, and I thought that coyote was at 200 yards. And when the boss come up, saw me shooting at it, he says, why are you shooting at that coyote? And I said, well, he's 200 yards. He said, he's not 200 yards. He said, he's 600 yards. So that distance can, when you don't.
Distance messes with you big time when there's nothing to judge.
Yeah, when you get over into the ravines and stuff, it's really easy to judge distance down in that. But
yeah, just plains is hard to do. Hey, Sheldon, how's the Buffalo Heights coming along?
Didn't get to work on them yet.
But you're working on something. What, deer hides?
Yeah, deer hide. I just got all the flesh off. That deer hide upset me so much because I got it from these guys. They asked it. They had permission to go hang it down by the alternative here at the school because they have like this thing that you can hook a deer up to.
Yeah.
And asked, hey, can I have the hide? And yeah, go ahead. Do you know how to skin? I was like, yeah, I know how to skin. I can get it off within 5 minutes, less. Then they proceeded to skin it. Took two of them to skin it. One of them didn't know what the heck he was doing, and he put a bunch of knife marks in it. I was just like, I could have been. It took him almost 20 minutes to do it. I was like, I could have been done a while ago, guys.
Yeah. Now you're sewing cuts, huh?
And then I made some holes with my drone. Okay, so speaking of 6.5, this kid that got the deer had a 6.5. He had a sight in really good to the point where I guess he didn't know if he hit it or not. Because he shot it 4 different times, so that entry and exit window for you to stop looking. I just kind of looked at him and said, "What'd you use?" He said, "Oh, I used a 6.5 with some kind of high power scope." But I have a 30-30 with iron sights, and I could have got this thing with one shot.
Oh, now you're picking on the 6.5. Duke's gonna have a retort here.
Well, I mean,
it ain't no a 270.
No, but I shot a couple deer just under 100 yards, both of them with that 6.5. And the entry hole, it's 6.5 going in, and both of them were the size of my fist going out. But that being said, that gun is not really, I didn't really get it for a hunting purpose. I got it for long range competition because between it and a 300 Win Mag for target shooting, they're very similar, and it was cheaper to reload the 6.5. So I got the 6.5. Hunting around, 6.5 is okay for deer and antelope. I would not try to take elk with it. I know there's people saying, yeah, it's all about shot placement, this, that, and the other. Yeah, you could kill a grizzly bear with a 22.
So that's a good one. Go ahead.
But yeah, that 6.5 I got. The gun itself is not really designed for hunting. It's a very heavy gun. But I mean, yeah, 6.5 will do it. But
it did it, but he had to take him 4 shots to do it, and he somehow got him on the same area. So I think the last 3 shots just kind of zipped through.
On the same hole, yeah. It's kind of like, have you ever seen that meme going around the internet with the 2 Indians leaning over in the snow of the tracks?
Oh yeah.
Where he says, "Wounded deer, walk this way. And don't worry, he'll survive. How can you tell? 6.5 casings."
Both of those deer I shot, I double lunged them. One went 20 yards, the other one went 80. But the one that I shot with a 270, she ran 40 yards, turned around, ran back, died right where I shot her at. And then the one I shot with a 30-30 died right where she fell.
Yeah.
Because that 30-30 was sighted in so high, when I aimed for the heart, I hit her in the spine.
Yeah. Space Art said, I got my deer this year with a 500 grainer out of my 45-70. Probably isn't nearly as hefty as Duke's friend's Magnum loads. Do you think that heavy a bullet is overkill for deer? I'll say this. I got quite a bit of experience with the 500 plus and 550 and a little heavier grain bullets. There's no such thing as overkill on a non-expanding bullet.
Yeah, I was just about to
give
say
it everything you want. Got
a hard cast or even a soft lead one, 500 grain is not going to mushroom that much.
Yep.
So I wouldn't consider that overkill. It's going to be over penetration.
Great rabbit. Great rabbit round.
Yeah. I'll tell that story here in a minute. But no, that's not what I consider overkill. But his 350 grain hollow point, doing 2,600 feet per second. That if he would have hit it in the chest cavity, probably would have dropped it right there in its tracks, and probably would have lost all the front quarters. I watched him shoot a deer through both front legs with a 308.
Yep.
And 308 in my mind, that's a bit big for deer, and shooting with it. But and the only reason I say that is because like I said, he hit both front legs. We lost everything from the shoulders up, except for the neck meat, because I mean it was just destroyed. Yeah. And that deer still ran with 2 completely shattered front legs. That deer was still able to run 60 yards.
Yep.
And the thing
you'd be amazed at what adrenaline will do.
Yeah, and the heart was gone. He's obliterated the heart. When we started tracking, we couldn't find any blood on the ground there where he shot it at. But I walked over about 10, 15 yards away and then looked at the corn. All the corn was just like somebody taking a 5-gallon bucket of blood and just threw it all over the corn. And then we found him a little bit further in. But it was also a fawn because he wasn't paying attention to what deer he was shooting. It was one of those. It was a doe and a fawn. He was going to shoot the doe. Well, he went to bolt around. The round didn't go in the chamber. So when he looked down at his gun to watch the round go in, the doe stepped forward and the fawn stepped in where she was at. So when he looked back up, he thought it was the same deer standing there, and he shot it. And then we get over there, and he was mad. He's like, "That ain't a deer. That's a coyote." But boy, was it tender.
I was just going to say that I've shot deer. I counted up. I don't hunt anymore because there's no way to hunt around here with the outfitters anymore, even on land that's owned by family. But in the years when I would hunt deer, I shot around 30 deer in my life, give or take. I've shot them with everything from small 22 high-velocity bullets up to 7mm Magnum is about the heaviest I hunted with. And I found that in the timber, there's nothing much better than a 30-30. Okay, 45-70 kind of covers all ground, but that's just my bias. I'm taking that out. In the timber, not much beats a 30-30. On the plains, not much beats a 270 for deer hunting in my mind. Those are the two I would go to just about all the time if I was to use that kind. It's not that fun for me anymore because, after you shoot so many, it's with a modern rifle. I'd love to try either handgun hunting. I would love to try smoothbore flintlock. That's something I personally haven't done yet. Ethan has, but I can't really do it here. But that would be the two things I'd like to try.
The last deer I killed was last December, and I had a 30-30 with me, and I only had a whitetail tag, and I seen a whitetail standing on the edge of a cornfield, and I had about 2 minutes of shooting light left, so I got up to 400 yards. I thought it was a little closer than that, but it was 400 yards. And I shot her, and I realized that 30-30 past 200 yards is not a good round to shoot a deer with. Because I hit her good.
Oh, you did hit her?
I hit her good. Because I watched her in the scope jump up, so I knew I got a good chest shot. And she ran. My buddy was coming down the fence line down there, and he said, "Yeah." He says, "I heard the bullet hit," and he said, "I seen her going," and he said he didn't look like she was running too good. So we went over there, found where I hit her. Good blood trail, really good blood trail. And then started following it. Well, followed it about 80 yards, and she got up and ran. And this is completely dark, so I didn't see which way she ran, but I heard something going through the cornfield, and I couldn't find a blood trail anymore. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to push her because she'll be on the neighbor's property if we keep running. So I'm going to just let her sit overnight and go back, pick her up next morning. Well, went, found the blood trail next morning, found out she wasn't the one that went through the cornfield. It had to have been her fawn that went through the cornfield. She actually went down through the old river channel. And when I got down there, the coyotes had been there. And I tell you what, coyotes are good at skinning animals too, because they peeled that whole hide back off of her and ate the meat off. And so my buddy was sitting there, and he's like, "I don't think this is the one you shot." And I said, "Well, there's one way to find out." I said, "The hide's intact." So we stretched the hide out. There was an entry hole, but there was no exit. So that 30-30 did not go all the way through. I only got a single lung, and that's why she got up and ran after we started trying to track her down that previous night, is because I'd only gotten one lung. If I'd have got both lungs, she'd probably been dead right there.
Yeah. Lagging Leland is in Snapper.
Oh my goodness. Lagging Leland. That's somebody I haven't seen in a while.
Snapper Jacob is disappointed or something.
What's that? Say that again.
I don't know. You read it.
I can't see it. Hold on. Yeah, I can. Hold on. Yeah.
It's your outfit, Snapper.
Oh my God. My child and his friends. I don't know what to do with these boys.
Rock McLaughlin said 45 Colt lever is great and tight brush here in Tennessee. Yeah, that's a great go-to.
45 Colt's great for everything.
It is.
I love 45 Colt.
45 Colt and 4570. I have to excuse them from all my gun talk because they're so far above everything else that's out there.
It was God's gift to men. God gifted man with those 2 rounds.
That's one thing about my buddy that's not good about paying attention to his ammunition is he's got a Ruger. I don't remember if it's a Vaquero or not, but it's a Ruger. It's chambered for 45 Colt, and he bought a bunch of rounds for it, and he's got those things painted up, marked all over. Do not shoot through.
Yeah.
Single actions, Ruger only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's got some hot loads.
Yeah, when they break the skin, I got a video on it. When they break the skin on the back of your thumb after a few shots, you know they're pretty warm.
Yeah,
indeed.
It's like he's so recoil sensitive. It's like I'm surprised he even has them. He bought a 3-inch single action Army. Pieta makes one of the barkeepers that doesn't have the ejection rod on it.
Don't let him put him in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no kidding. So he bought that gun, and when he bought it, he didn't know that the cylinder pin, the Pietas, they got that safety notch on the cylinder pin.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried to take it out, shoot it, wouldn't go off.
Yeah. Yes.
He's trying to figure it out, and I figured it out.
That is annoying.
I charged him.
Yeah, I hate that system.
But I got it fixed, and we took it out to go shoot it. And he fired one round. He starts screaming, "Ow, ow, 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 ow." The recoil from that come back, and he has an arthritic knot on his middle finger. And that trigger guard just was hitting it just in the right spot. He fired 2 rounds to that. He hands me the gun. He says, "You finish it off. I'm never shooting this again." I'm sitting there shooting, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? This thing has no recoil." But something about that gripping on there and just the way it was hitting his finger, he could not shoot that thing.
Hurts him, yeah. So
Yeah.
Sheldon, I was going to ask
I
Sheldon.
might have to call it soon.
Okay. Can you
Go
go
ahead.
another? Can you go to 10 minutes to get to 2 hours and 45?
Yeah, we do more. Yeah, we do that.
Sheldon, how's the Lehman rifle coming? Are you starting on that yet?
I still haven't got the stock because it just is a back order at the moment.
Mm.
And I might probably order it. I was telling Garrett this the other day, but found this guy in Montana. He sells or he says he doesn't really sell them, but he won't mind selling them. But they're buffalo hides and they're square cut, like what they used to do back in the 1800s. They're raw, so he has them stretched out and no meat on them. So you get the raw hide with the hair on it.
Mm-hmm.
I might buy one of those.
Yeah, we sure need a couple. Seeing as Duke is abandoning us at Fort Larned this year, it's just us.
Whoever's
Didn't have much choice in that.
I know. I'm just picking on you. Just picking on you. It's just us. Is
But if I can do it, I might try to make September.
yeah. Maybe I can pull that one off too this year. I have to try.
But how much is he selling for?
a good price.
Like $40 a hide?
I wish.
You're not being too forthcoming here, Sheldon.
Good for
No.
him or good for you?
Not for everyone here, so I'll be forthcoming after we go off one.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
He's like, it's all going to be gone if I say something.
Well, I was gonna say, pick me one up if they're not too terrible.
Yeah, Duke's making all that 16-hour-a-day money.
I would have snapped a long time ago. I'm sorry, I can do like 12 hours. Anything past that.
I know the feeling.
But
Well, guys, we're running down to about 5 minutes left live here. And you got any more comments, questions, or concerns, shoot them out there. I know we weren't real focused tonight, but that's okay. This was just for us to get back together and have a visit. It's been a real long time.
Yeah, and we'll have to do it again.
Yep, we'll have to do it again. You know, I got people asking all the time when we're going to open back up the Tales of the Trails podcast, dude.
That one is going to be way out in the future. I'm still going to do the regular channel.
Yeah.
Because I finally got Red Cloud's War finished.
finally,
And for those of you that want to listen to it all in one stretch, I went through and edited and put it all together. So it's like a 2.5 hour long episode.
cool.
Yeah, so the one thing I announced at the last episode is that the next series is going to be on the Yellowstone.
Okay. Yeah. The expedition.
Yeah, so 1871, 72, 73.
Well, that's coming up on your channel, which is, by the way, guys, is your channel Tales of the Trails?
Tales of the Trails, yep.
That's the channel. Yeah. Okay. You had that second channel.
Yep. So it'll be on that one. That's the only channel I'm going to keep active.
Yeah.
But like I said, the other one I may have to. It depends. Nobody's mentioned it, but it may come up, and that's just because of the job I got. But the other one, Tales of the Trails, will keep going because my face is not on it.
Yep.
So that one will keep going for as long as I can keep it going. But I don't know when I'm going to start working on that next season. I need to start reading up here pretty soon. But yeah, I might just start reading about it tonight. Yeah, that'll be the next one. And I'm thinking about doing some like mini episodes in between. So like not big events, but more like on individuals. So I was thinking like doing an episode on California Joe Milner, Finn Burnett, books that I've got on individuals that played out and or had some roll out in the West. Just kind of focused on them. So they'll just be like, 20, 30 minute episode, single ones that'll come out in between.
Cool. Well, that's good to know what you got coming up. I got to read this right quick. Guns of the West said it was great to see you guys. Snapper, don't worry about societal norms. You keep that tree up as long as you want.
You darn right. That's exactly. I was like, I'm not taking it down at all. It's already set for next year.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
Oh man, you know how bad I would do that. Like, if I didn't live in an HOA, I would keep my Christmas lights up year round because then I wouldn't have to do it. All I gotta do is just plug them in.
I thought you were going to get out of that HOA.
One of these days, you know how hard it is to just find a place you want to live.
To a bunker, a nuclear bunker fallout shelter in Kansas, and he never.
I should have bought that. That would have been so cool.
Oh,
that would have been so freaking cool.
Where was
like
it
70 freaking stories of nuclear bunker, and it actually had like a house right on the property too, like a nice house, and it had like a shop, and it was like 25 acres of land and everything. It wasn't actually far from Garrett.
Yep.
I should have bought it. That would have been so cool.
Doug Duke said, "Snapper, check your text message."
Okay, I'll check it.
Shot Sheila said, "Great to see these going again." Wishfulest said, "Do you think some wheel lock videos will be happening, Garrett?" Ethan had one out. He put out about a year ago. Big wheel lock. It wasn't a wheel lock video. I think it was. It wasn't the Snap-ons. We'll be doing some videos here on 11 Bang Bang, but honestly, 11 Bang Bang is Ethan's channel. The wheel locks and that's all he's built them. That's all Ethan's wheelhouse. So when he feels like it's time to do some, I suppose he will. But I don't have any dates on that or anything like that. I can tell you for sure. My stuff's over on Smoke in the Woods, and maybe if I get a real big itch to break a wheel lock out over there someday, it would have to be a quite a thing. They're really complicated for me. Let's put it that way. And Dustin said, I kid. So you gonna have any videos coming out, Snapper?
I have so many that I need to release that I've filmed in the past. Yeah. Some of them just need a little editing. I need to. matter of fact, I even kind of been thinking about starting another channel, just for the motorcycle stuff and my little pet hummingbird. Like, I got the coolest pet hummingbird in my backyard. Like, he's wild, obviously, but in the morning and in the evening, he literally comes up, says hi, and hangs out for like 20, 30 minutes. Then does his thing all day. Like, it's like he says good morning. And then at the evening, you would literally go out there and just chill. And then he'll eat from your hand. He literally like says good night. And then he just flies off and comes back the next morning. It's the coolest thing ever. And he's like the angriest, meanest little hummingbird ever. He's awesome.
All right, we got about a minute to go here. Sheldon, you're not putting out videos, are you? You're just kind of doing your thing.
I just kind of do my thing, and I got like 30 choke cherry shafts, so hopefully I can make some arrows out of them. I asked that.
Cool.
I have a very hard time pronouncing his name, but that Southern Cheyenne guy asked him about getting dogwood arrowheads or arrow shafts.
Mahavis?
Yeah, he said he would. I said, "Oh," he said, "How much?" I was like, 30? 30 okay for now? Cause I thought maybe 30 be too much. Maybe he hits me. How about 100? Like, okay.
There you go.
There you go. See, I'm thinking this year maybe asking if they'll let us film some of that at Fort Larned, because that would be cool. Then we can
I need
get
to
it
make-
on screen
I need to
again.
make arrowheads, and it's just either shell out money and do it the modern way, or just keep doing what I was doing, which involves a hammer and a chisel.
What's the modern way?
Accurate.
What's the modern way? Like, it's
Either a bandsaw or what do you call those things? An angle grinder with a cut disc.
Yeah.
they actually will use that to cut out an arrowhead from flint.
Steel.
Oh, okay, that would make sense then.
Yeah.
I was still thinking flint arrowheads, but
Hang
why
on.
would you still be using flint?
I can't do flint for the life of me. I kind of adjusted the flint on that trade gun I got from Garrett, and it shoots a little bit better, but a little short now.
Oh, I actually got my first flint started kit. Like when you like start a fire, I
Yeah.
actually did. Oh, that's so fun! It's not as hard as I thought. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be.
You know, I was surprised to find out that Hudson Bay Trading Post, the ammo they kept for trade guns, like a 55 diameter ball was what they kept the most for their trade guns.
Well, yeah, it's because most of them are 58, so that would be about right. A lot of them are 58s.
Yeah.
So that'd be about right.
Oh, Duke put his pants on.
Like that. Yeah, he finally put his pants on. No, you're just not seeing the upper half of them. That's all.
That's pretty nice. Like I had a nice arrow I was gonna keep as like my sample, and I stuck it in the ground while I was working on one of my trucks. See, I cannot make my fletchings that nice.
That is beautiful.
I actually had my uncle fletch these because he does like longbow stuff.
Oh, okay.
He's got like a fletching clamp that actually clamps them on. So he fletched them and then I cut them to the profile I wanted. And then the shafts are some that he had made a long time ago because my uncle's into like native archery and stuff. He's got a bunch of arrowheads and stuff, but I wanted to make some for when I was doing that talk up there at Fort Laramie, and I found one that was kind of painted like this. I kind of put my own little twist on the painting, but it was similar. But I did a couple of them. So that's a warhead. It's got
Nasty.
the barbs on it. Yeah, you go up to the Museum of Fur Trade and they've got some really nasty ones up there.
I've been wanting to ask about getting like I kind of drew like freehand one from the picture that they have. It was like a 6-inch buffalo point.
Yeah. That's a hunting point that I took a pattern off of one my uncle has in his collection that he found out on the prairie. It's original and it's broke and both pieces were right there together. But I put them together and I kind of come up with that. So that's a typical trade point.
You know, the little I do.
So I'm guessing like steel was the common. Oh, so go ahead.
Oh, the little reading I've done is I don't think there was much of a difference between a warhead and a hunting arrow. It's just kind of if that's what you had on you. He just, gonna stink nonetheless.
I think that was more of a trade thing, kind of like Hollow Point versus round nose, because you really only see that on the metal ones.
Yeah,
and you see trade points that are like this too.
like I thought it was cool that you find out that it was common for a lot of the tribes some with old skillets and stuff, like little sheet iron skillets would make their arrowheads. And
this one's recycled out of an old shovel. Those two. And then I got a bone point because I forgot you sent me the reference to that, but there was one that talked about making points out of bone.
Yeah,
that's cool.
My uncle made this one years ago. And then everybody thinks this is an obsidian point. That is actually cow bone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was messing with some cow bones one day, and he was making arrowheads, and he wanted to make them look like they were flint. So he shaped them out, and then he took a Dremel and he cut the little flakes out with a Dremel sander. Yeah. And then he was messing around one day, and he took some of my black leather dye and put on that bone. It looks just like obsidian.
Sure does.
That's how you get head at arrowhead, Sheldon.
But
you just got to carve it out of bone. That's all.
Oh, is that you're?
I said that's all you got.
That's how you make
arrowheads.
Right.
You just carve it out of bone.
Like making like those. If I was to do like any living history thing that was pre 1850, 1840, I would. And then, just because actual flint arrowheads would be a pain in the butt to keep around.
Mm-hmm.
I have a flint one upstairs that I have, but it's like a modern reproduction. It's flint, but I just have it hanging on the wall. I should send you guys a picture of it. Let me know if it's even like historically accurate.
Flint's not found in my area. I'd have to go travel like out towards the river, Missouri River and stuff to get it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, my great grandpa actually used to walk the fields, but nobody farms the way they used to. They used to plow with moldboard plows and turn that ground over deep. And he had jars full of arrowheads. He found them everywhere down here where their villages were along the river. And I wish I knew where those went. When he died, they got sent to different family members, but I bet some of them could still be putting arrows. How good they looked.
What's funny is my uncle, he's always went out and collected arrowheads, and he took us out when he was kids, and I could never find an arrowhead save my life.
Me neither.
Never could. I'd walk right over him, he'd find him in my boot print.
That's got sad.
The only one I've ever found, I was sitting up there, I was working one day on some fence line down in a muddy bottom, and I had my riding boots on, and I come up to the house for lunch, and I had a big ball of mud underneath the arch. And I reached down and I grabbed it and I pulled it off. And when I pulled it off, there was an arrowhead sticking in that mud underneath my. That's the only one I ever found. I don't know where I found it at. So I walked a lot around that day, but that's the only one that I got that I can actually say is mine.
Yep. A couple more comments here. Says Space Art said, "Any chance we'll get any more trapdoor videos in the future?" Yeah. We've talked about that earlier on. Most likely we will at some point, but they probably won't be as long or as so detailed as the other ones because with the amount of people that watch long videos like that and YouTube doesn't push them out, it's just not the lemon's not worth the squeeze, shall we say?
I was watching your trapdoor videos earlier to get in the mood to talk on the knowledge chat today.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I just like watching every now and then. So I see my 66. I'm like, yeah, look, I can actually see it shoot. I haven't shot it yet. I can't wait to.
Yeah, Duke run some pretty long range targets with that little short rifle until he burned his hand.
I absolutely love that little thing. I got it all fixed up and got it ejecting nice too. Holy cow, does it eject a shell?
Good deal.
The only reason I didn't take that off is because at that time that was when 50-70 brass was hard to find.
Well, Snapper took it, and he has been sitting here waiting for years.
Yeah, I finally got some 50-70 brass thanks to Jake. So I can finally shoot the thing.
It's Gary, but he says he wants a whole buffalo rope for a couple empty casings. So
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, no, if we get some buffalo hides in, man, we can make a good buffalo hunter camp at Fort Larned. Of course, somebody had to go and sell his sharps for a tractor.
Nothing saying I can't get another. If I do get another one, it won't have that wrong lock plate on it.
But, well, even with the wrong lock plate, it still looked really nice with that sight on there.
I know where it's still at.
You know, I like the sharps and everything, but I don't like how the reproductions of the last 40 years, they all put checkering on them.
Depends on the gun. What you're going for.
It bugs me.
Yeah.
But
well,
is Turkey Creek here?
He was here. He left already.
Oh man, I was gonna ask him about the Lehman lock.
Well, I can get you in contact with him.
Sure.
Okay. Well, guys, I think we're going to shut it down here. We went a little over. We almost made 3 hours.
Almost.
So, anyways, thank you guys for all watching. We had a good time here. Thanks for everybody that came out. Thank you, Slick Six Guns, for that big donation right off the bat.
Yeah. Always
Yeah, wow.
it.
If you want to see more 11 Bang Bang style videos with Noah and I, go check out Smoke in the Woods. And of course, check out everybody else here's channels if they have videos up. And we'll see you all later. Trust a guy. Keep your powder dry.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.